that will get some hail from some of these cells. This one in particular, the next severe thunderstorm warning looks like it's coming out into Decatur County and Perry County. So then that whole line, that leading edge, will be covered by severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings. This Clarksville, Montgomery County, time now 8:46. I think they're getting into you, downtown Clarksville, probably maybe 9:30 or so. The leading edge. I'll throw a track
on there for you, Dan.
It's the leading edge. Say again?
Track on there for you.
Good, thanks. It's the leading edge that's the most concerning, and then into the main body of some of these storms. It's not one solid line yet, but I think later on tonight it forms one solid line and marches all across Middle Tennessee. So here's that track that Stefano's doing right over Stewart County. Heads up Dover. You're starting to hear the thunder and lightning. Can we turn on the lightning tracker as well, sir? Stefano? Because that tells us a big story about where the strongest storms happen to be. And you can see the flashes. Lick Creek getting pretty good near Murray, Kentucky, south of there as well. All these moving to the east. These are just showers right now, so it's the cells farther west that look the most concerning. Linton at 8:50, Bumpus Mills at 8:56, Dover just a couple minutes before 9 p.m., Stewart County High School 8:58. This all moving to the east, and then Big Rock 9:02, Wyatt's Chapel 9:03, Carlisle in your area, and Atkins at 9:04. So we're talking about the eastern fringe right in through here, these white dots. That's Carlisle, we've got Atkins, we have Wyatt's Chapel near Big Rock, all shifting through Stewart County in time. And then next in line, the Cumberland River, and then will be Montgomery County. So again, probably close to 9:30 for downtown Clarksville. So severe up and down the line. We had a wind gust in eastern Arkansas, 2 miles from Jonesboro tonight, around 75 miles an hour. The Storm Prediction Center had that report and sent it out. And now we're seeing these strongest storms shifting into Tennessee, from West Tennessee into Middle Tennessee. Here's I-65. Here's Interstate 40. And then there's the most powerful storm. Again, tornado warning in effect. Savannah moving. The cell is moving up toward Clifton in Waynesboro. You can see that from the shape of this tornado polygon right in through there. So it's ramped upward this way to show that central and northern parts of Wayne County will get it in time. Here's the rotation. Right now it still looks a little broad, and so we have winds blowing toward the radar here and away from the radar here to make that rotation. We're scanning the storm at about probably 2.5 miles up, so it's tough to tell what's exactly happening at the surface. And so what we use sometimes is our storm button, the correlation or debris detector correlation coefficient, to see little cooling pockets. We had this. This is the now is this the current picture or the history of that, Stefano?
That's the current picture right now.
Current picture. So the main rotations right in through here, and interestingly, the main cooling, which would indicate maybe some debris is southwest of there and displaced, so it doesn't look like legitimate debris. It looks like just radar noise. But we're watching this part of Hardin County for that most dangerous part of the storm. Right in through here. Could be some hail just east of downtown Savannah, and it's moving again up toward Waynesboro. There's Houston, there's Center Star. Center Star, your time in Hardin County, 8:54, and then it just skips right up to Houston at 9:06. If this is a 8-minute time gap, then I'd say probably around 9:11 in the vicinity of Waynesboro. There's that cell. There's this cell that looks nasty right over Decatur County that's going to get parts of Perry County. Then into Lewis County, Hickman County. There's Lewis County, here's Hickman County, maybe Centerville to get some of that. So you can see how that's going to roll that way. There's Linden and Centerville. Damaging wind, maybe some P to dime size hail. In the strongest cells tonight, possibly some slightly larger hail than that. Then we get up into Montgomery County, and right now it looks like just beneficial rain. Light to moderate rain breaking out around Waverly. A little heavier cell between Dover and Erin. So that road that goes from, I don't know, I forget if this is 49 or 46, I forget what it is. Some road that goes from Erin to Dover will be bisected by this storm, and then behind that, more very heavy downpours. So you might get a solid inch of rain tonight. Some of you probably get even more than an inch of rain in a very short period of time. Here's the lightning strike for this window here. This window on the screen in the last 20 minutes, 135 strikes. So Dover, you're going to get a glancing blow from this, and then you'll get another soaking downpour there back in Paris. A lot of lightning showing up right now into parts of Callaway County, Kentucky. That'll move up toward Trigg County. Now we do have some really demonstrative cameras in downtown Cadiz and then just west of Hopkinsville in eastern parts of Trigg County. We'll have to check those out in time as all this moves right over those two cameras. Then you get into Hopkinsville, this Greenville just out of our area. This, Stefano, look at this thing, has an interesting little hook to it.
Yeah, a little bit, right?
Not a tremendous amount of lightning, but that's going to get northern Todd County. That's the reason for this severe thunderstorm warning, and it may be in time into Logan County.
At the very least, that might be showing that storm's got enough inflow. It's a cell on its own, too. It's not part of the main line.
Exactly. It's a front runner cell, which is sort of surprising right now. Now, what will happen tonight as this forms more of a line and it intensifies? It's very likely, even though we're cool some tonight now that the sun has gone down, the wind in the atmosphere is going to strengthen at all levels tonight, so get even stronger out there. So when you have a downpour come on through, there's a better chance later on tonight that we'll have damaging wind before it clears the midstate. Here's the Cumberland Plateau. We're just getting into the starting elements of this. Time now coming up on 9 o'clock, so these storms a little behind schedule. Initially, we said around 7 o'clock toward the Tennessee River, around 10 o'clock in Nashville. Looks like it's going to be a little slower or a little later than that, but still 10 to 11 o'clock, looking reasonable in Davidson County, and maybe some rain areas before that time. Here's a new shower that's popped up just west of Williamson County. That'll cross 840, probably get leapers, then maybe Franklin and Brentwood ahead of the main batch of energy. Stefano?
And as we look at the main batch of energy that's behind all of that, Dan, the big thing with that is just how quick it's going to move through. These storms are moving at about 45, 50 miles per hour, so we'll see these warnings issued very quickly. So now this is all moving through parts of West Middle Tennessee. They will get along the I-65 corridor right around 10 o'clock this evening, then move east of I-65 between about 11 o'clock and 1 a.m. Then things wrap up from there. We are done with that severe weather threat way before we get to the morning commute tomorrow. But of course, do remember that on the back side of this, we have some extremely cold air that will be working its way back in. Let me take you back over to First Alert Live radar. A lot of lightning near Parsons, south of Camden, like we were talking about. I'm going to take it out for a bigger picture for you once again here. And just a lot of really torrential rainfall. There's a storm I really want to point out. There's two cells to watch that are very important, at least at this point. One of which is that one we were just taking a look at north of Hopkinsville. But we have this severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning. That's in Hardin County. That's in southern Middle Tennessee. So let me zoom in again so we can get a better look at this storm. Now, right now, as we're talking, into Wayne County and into Lawrence County, or just really into Wayne County at this point, we just have this severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warning does not extend into Wayne County at this point. So there's that severe thunderstorm warning. The current time is 8:54, so 9:30 is when that warning is set to expire, but you can already see the leading edge. So in areas like Clifton, the rain definitely coming down. It's starting to get heavier. You're probably hearing some of that thunder. If you're in Collinwood looking to the west, you can actually probably see some of that lightning that's off in the distance as well. But all of this continues to move to the east. So at the very least, you're getting extremely heavy rainfall out of this. A lot of lightning. There's 278 lightning strikes just in this image right here, most of which are within this severe thunderstorm, which of course does have that tornado warning on it. Let's go over to our rotation detector so we can get a better look at exactly what's going on inside of this storm. It's getting a little bit messy, like Dan talked about earlier. This is looking out about 2 miles from the storm up in the atmosphere. But if you take a look at our rotation detector, we show this a lot. It's a good way for us to see the dynamics that are going on inside of these thunderstorms. And right now we have those red returns and those green returns. South of Savannah, that green blob you see just south of Savannah is heading toward the radar, wind heading away from the radar just south of that. So you're looking for that rotation right in the center of this polygon, and it slopes off to the north and east just because of the movement of that storm system. So definitely have that severe thunderstorm warning. What we really think the National Weather Service is doing at this point is they're taking it into account. When's it going to move into parts of Wayne County? Is that rotation going to A, carry over, and B, is it actually going to be tight enough rotation for them to actually continue that tornado warning? But these storms still have the capability of producing 70 to even 75-mile-per-hour winds. So on the leading edge of all of this, the wind is going to pick up immediately. And that's something I think that you're not going to think too much about these storms. The first thing that's going to happen, besides probably hearing the thunder and seeing the lightning, is the wind is really going to pick up before these storms push through. They're already gusting, the winds without thunderstorms, up to about 40 to 45 miles per hour. But you toss in these thunderstorms into the mix, they can push those wind gusts easily 50, 60, even 70 miles per hour. Now, what Dan's doing now that he's driving the radar here, he's showing us a really cool view. I mean, this is actually inside of the storm itself. We can use our radar to get a 3D scan inside this storm, and this tells us a lot more than you would think. It not only tells us the height of the storm, but we can see things like a hail core in there. You can see if there's any rotation, the inflow of these storms as well, and you can actually see that anvil cloud up at the top there, Dan. That's a really interesting feature with this storm as it moves out of Hardin County, I should say, and into parts of Wayne County. So definitely has some good inflow, meaning it's sucking in a lot of that moisture and a lot of that air, Dan. It's got all the height in the world. That's why we're seeing a lot of lightning in this storm, and there could be some good hail with that as well.
Yeah, no question. Stefanosa right along 64 between Savannah and Waynesboro. We need to watch that cell as it moves deeper into Middle Tennessee. Again, just on the edge right now, Waynesboro, you can see that, headed toward Lawrenceburg in time, into Murray County in time, Spring Hill, Columbia. Heads up, you'll get that eventually, and then Thompson Station 2. The top-down view shows Nashville right in the middle, and we flip on First Alert Live radar. Notice all the warnings, and notice where Nashville is. All the warnings just west of us, so it's just a matter of time. And now the storms are starting to get a little more acceleration to them. So they've been sort of taking their time for a while, and now they're starting to get a little more speed as they move in. So there's 30 minutes worth of movement. Let me show you 1 hour worth of movement as this system slides eastbound, and there that is. So you can see it moving along. So given that's 1 hour's worth of movement, you would think in just over an hour, maybe 90 minutes from now, they'll be on top of Nashville. And that's why we said about 10:30 or so, right over downtown Nashville. So we pause this, we identify the warnings, and again, I'm going to clear Nashville off to do this. One severe thunderstorm warning here, here's another, here's yet another, and another. And we get into Henry County, here's a big one. All this stuff is warned. There's 3 lined up here. Tornado warning here, and then down into Wayne County. I don't believe Perry County actually has a warning yet, but all these areas under severe thunderstorm warnings. Lightning tracker back on. Current count 645. In the worst of severe weather outbreaks in the mid-state, we get this up around 2,500. So that's why, you know, you put things in perspective. We say, hey, this is still a very powerful system, still could generate a lot of damaging wind, maybe an isolated tornado, but the storms are a little more disorganized than they typically are in a really hot May afternoon when we climb into the mid-80s and we're starting to see those supercells break out here and there. So right now, 720 strikes on this window here in the last 20 minutes, and they're closing in on Nashville. Let's zoom on down. We just pause this for a moment on the live view at Davidson County and the western flank there. There they are. So getting into Dixon, not much in the way of lightning showing up yet there, still west of Dixon. Fairview, again, we talked about this before, pretty good downpour just developing west of you. That may actually get up into Bellevue. Here's the last 30 minutes. Let's set that in motion. And so if you wanted to walk the dog before bed, maybe even Kingston Springs, before all this stuff moves in, you know, Nashville is not a bad time to do that right now. Franklin, Thompson Station, Hendersonville, Gallatin, Ashland City. Take advantage of the dry weather now, because this stuff is starting to race to the east. Storm reports, let's look for new ones. We saw some before that were from today, and looks like we don't have any new ones yet. Obviously the hail, that's from a storm. So let's see if we could stop this and just see how large that hail was. That's, you know, you don't get hail unless you get a storm. 3/4 inch. So about dime size, 2 miles east-northeast of Kirksey. So that is in Callaway County earlier today. So we'll keep watching these. If you see something, you hear some hail, that sort of thing, come on by. Just shoot us a message on social media, send us an email, whatever works best for you. But don't put yourself in danger. And hey, Oh, good. So what county?
That's Wayne County, Waynesboro. This is
terrific.
Look at the lightning. Look at
That's
how
fantastic.
consistent that is.
Yeah, so that's constant lightning. If the folks are over at the airport, if this storm was over at the Nashville airport, the weather observer on duty would say, hey, constant lightning back toward the west and south as this thing moves in. And that's, we have planes still using Nashville International coming in tonight. Think about the show that the folks coming back from maybe spring break are getting as all these storms approach from the west and approach Nashville. Now, once these storms get to Davidson County, it'll probably be a different story, and they'll have to hold the inbounds and outbounds just because of the strong wind threat, even stronger than we have out there right now. The Nashville airport gusted to 51 miles an hour already today before the storms even entered Tennessee. 10:30 is the estimated time of arrival, ballpark, in downtown Nashville. But again, there could be some rain in parts of Davidson County before that time. So some of you could lose power tonight. What does that mean? If I'm at home right now, I want to charge my mobile devices. If you have a strong gust of wind come on through, I know we don't want to lose power. We dealt with that enough back in late January, but it's a possibility tonight. Make sure those mobile devices are charged. If you have flashlights in the house that aren't on the mobile phone, make sure those are ready to go. Check the batteries. A lot of times those batteries are dead from the last time you needed it, which was maybe last severe weather season. And so just get ready for the storms. If you have a tornado-safe place in your home identified, make sure that's ready to go. If you don't, you really need to identify that. Stefano, can we pull those up on the Lynx computer there just to review these, just to make sure we're ready? Again, we're not expecting a big tornado outbreak tonight. We've got a couple of warnings already. There could be additional warnings, but just to go through this list and think about it, the lowest interior room of your home, where is that? What would that be? Well, for those who have basements, it will be a basement, 9 times out of 10. Crawl space is no good because they have things called sliders where the home actually gets pushed and then falls down into a crawl space. That's happened before, so you never want to seek shelter or take cover in a crawl space. Protect your head from flying debris. Once you choose the room, if you don't have a basement, go to the lowest interior room for most of us. It's an inner bathroom or closet on the first floor. You don't want a great big room, you want a small room. The smaller the room, the stronger it is with the walls. It's just when you think about structural integrity of spaces, that's just the way it goes. And so choose the smallest room away from outside walls and windows. Protect your head from flying debris. Best done with a helmet. A full frontal motorcycle helmet is always going to be best, but most of us don't have those. But those of you who do ride, you definitely have that. Get that set in your safe spot. Use pillows, blankets, some other type of helmet, maybe a helmet to go ride your bike, maybe a helmet from snowboarding, and that will work as well. Abandoned cars or mobile homes. When a tornado warning is issued, tornado warning means it's happening in your area. You're actually safer outdoors lying in a ditch than you are in a mobile home or a car because 80 or 85 miles an hour can actually rock a car, maybe start to flip it. A mobile home, if it's not, well constructed, if it's not tied down well, that could also start to roll an 80 or 85 mile an hour wind. So we're talking winds gusting maybe to 70, 75 miles an hour tonight. We're not far off of that. All right, here is that rotation showing up. This is the inflow notch that Stefano and I identified before and told you about. So he said you can really see the wind blowing in from the south from the Gulf. And it's being entrained into the storm. It ascends and it's being blown downstream in very strong winds in the upper atmosphere. So all that's happening. Notice between Kirkmansville and Clifty on the north side, so about to get out of Todd County, we have an area of interest. Thank goodness this is about to move away and be more of a problem for central Kentucky as opposed to southern Kentucky. But if you have friends there north of Kirkmansville and Clifty, give them a buzz and say, hey, there's some rotation. You don't have a tornado warning, but you might want to just think about getting close to that safe spot if you're not there already. Here's Trigg County. So Trigg County right over Cadiz. How are the cameras looking? We have 2 there in Cadiz. One is in downtown and one is right about there. So this is the one that's just a little east of downtown. And so my guess is that camera there is right about here. It's on Hopkinsville Highway. Maybe it's right about here. Something like that. I don't think that's Interstate 24. But it could be. I think it's a road a little farther south. But either way, it's like in eastern sections of Trigg County. So once this gets over that camera, that is going to be a nasty one that we'll have to watch. Dover, You're surrounded by downpours, lots of lightning and thunder in all directions. Aaron, not so bad right now. And again, this is about to get into Montgomery County. So this Clarksville, you're not in this warning yet. Again, all these orange counties, orange polygons are severe thunderstorm warnings. In terms of tornado warnings, what's the status on the Wayne County system, Stefano?
We'll take a look. National Weather Service is not going to extend it as of right now, but either way, that storm is still, it's our biggest lightning producer right now. It's definitely got some wind to it, but let's get a look at the rotation.
And is that the other Katie's camp? No, is that Nolensville?
That's
Waynesboro. Back to Waynesboro.
So that's the one that's right on the doorstep right now.
That's incredible. That lightning show is coming out of Waynesboro, and that is just incredible. What a shot there. This storm, you know, this has to be, Stefano, what do you think, nickel size? Sometimes it's a little over-exaggerated on the storm button, the storm threat button, but nickel, maybe quarter size with that cell. It has the healthiest updraft, likely the healthiest downdraft.
It could definitely be up to, I think, nickel at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily.
And so we had a weather spotter, was it the Lawrence County, who said there could be a wall cloud with that cell coming in? Back in the chat a little bit ago.
Yeah, I think so, but they're just saying that nothing's really pushed the rotation tight enough right now to issue another warning. We did say that, you know, the rotation was kind of broad to begin with, so I just think they're not seeing enough right now to warrant the issuing of the warning, but the storm itself, that severe thunderstorm warning out ahead is still because that storm has, you know, 70-mile-per-hour wind potential.
Yeah, right here. And so all this, if this is ice, if this is hail, which it probably is just west of Waynesboro, it's about to move right over Waynesboro. Too late to move the car into the carport if you haven't done that yet. If it's just parked outdoors from the nice weather today, pardon me, it's going to move in. Here's the hail history. So the hail track shows where hail likely fell into parts of Hardin County, and it will get updates, and it's going to march right over Waynesboro, maybe out toward Mount Pleasant in time. So we'll see how well this storm holds together, but we're talking about southwestern sections of Maury County potentially in time. A lot of collisions in the atmosphere makes this, the static electricity differences. A lot of times that's from raindrops, but other times it's from hail involved as well. And I think we have some hail in that, and the radar seems to agree. All right, what do you see in south of Waverly? It looks like that's starting to move toward northern sections of Hickman County, maybe southern Dixon in time, right along the interstate, right in through here. So there's some sort of lightning patch that's a little more concentrated around where we have that, the inflow here. I wouldn't call it an inflow notch, but it's along and south of Interstate 40 that we'll have to watch for the most dangerous part of this cell that moves toward Dixon and Kingston Springs. Mobile 4 is getting fired up and heading in this general direction. So the storms will get to Nashville after our 10 o'clock news. We'll see what, our 10 o'clock news, maybe more of this stuff, we'll see, but maybe more storm coverage. But Mobile 4 will be in or near some of this here shortly, just to give you an idea of what it looks like from the interstate. They're not going to put themselves in danger. They'll probably go to a gas station and get safe, but we'll have a good view of what happens with this cell as it approaches Davidson County. This is the one likely to get Davidson County in time. This, we said before, this could get Bellevue, a little shower that was around Fairview. It looks like it is Cheatham County more in its mind. The western fringes of Davidson County. It's exceptionally rural right here. All the people are in through here. Very rural back in through here. So this is going to roll this way, across the Cumberland River, and then push farther north in time. A little lightning, not much north of Charlotte. Heavy downpours right over Waverly. Waverly, no stranger to rain. How is Clarksville doing? Is Clarksville getting a little closer to the mix?
Definitely.
Okay.
You definitely, that heavy rain on 79 it's quick moving too, 45 miles per hour. So let's throw a track on there. We'll get a look at. I want to get a look at the farther extent of it. I want to look back here toward Dover. See if we can track that.
So he's doing a little track to the east, right down 79. And let me go to the other side here. Yep, okay. So Big Rock 912 in Stewart County, Wyeth Chapel, Atkins. We read your towns before. You're in Stewart County as well, right there. And then we get to Carlisle, Indian Mound, Cave Spring, in Oakwood at 926. I think we're getting over the county line and into if I'm thinking correctly, into parts of western Montgomery. There you are, yes. Western Montgomery, just west of Clarksville. So right on 79 is Oakwood, just south of there is Cave Springs. So it's going to move on down. Now this, to me, Stefano, and probably to you as well, looks pretty disorganized. This is not your supercharged up supercell thunderstorm, but tonight it doesn't matter. Yeah. As we all know, tonight it doesn't matter. You and I know, because of all these downpours will send some of that momentum from aloft down below. We've seen in the forecast charts, we looked at these today, that the winds a mile above our heads tonight would go from 40 or 45 miles an hour today to 50 or 55 around dinner time to 60, 65, maybe 70 tonight. And so as that intensifies, any of these downpours will be more meaningful, even if they look pretty sloppy on the radar with some lightning, but not a whole lot.
And that's kind of the thing. It doesn't look like the most organized squall line that we've ever seen here. There's no really individual big supercells either. So disorganized doesn't necessarily mean that, it doesn't pose a damage threat. While we may have some pockets in there that end up missing out on the worst of this and just get some rain, some rumbles of thunder, and some lightning, and you say to yourself, what happened to the severe weather threat? Well, some areas are going to miss out on it. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but there are other areas that are going to get absolutely clobbered with rain, some hail possibly, wind gusts 60, 70 miles per hour, could even be a little bit more than that. We still have this storm far to the north right now. It's in parts of southern Kentucky. We're getting into Trigg and Christian County. So Hopkinsville, we just got through with a big storm not that long ago, and now we have more. It's moving out of Cadiz in Kentucky right now. It's headed toward Hopkinsville, Oak Grove. We're hearing some of those rumbles of thunder, those lightning strikes as well. Some of this lightning has been near constant. Guys, where's that camera? Is that our Cadiz camera that you have pulled up right now? Yeah, so, all right, that's the Cadiz camera. The heaviest of the rain has worked its way out, and now we kind of just have the leftover lightning behind all of this. And if you take a look at the image there, it really is consistent lightning. It's pretty much non-stop here. A lot of it's sticking up in the clouds, but some good cloud-to-ground lightning still a threat for us on top of that. Another thing to remember is that even though the lightning is embedded within a lot of these thunderstorms, if you head back to First Alert Live radar, you look a little farther east, you can still get some strikes that are out ahead of the main line. Let me give you a closer idea of what I'm talking about. Let me take you a little bit farther in to parts of Lewis County. This is a really great example, Dan, about if you're close enough to hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. Look at that lightning strike between Hohenwald and Mount Pleasant. Now, the storm itself is back in Flatwoods, Waynesboro. So let's take the far center of this cell and just track it out. So that lightning strike compared to the center of the storm is 25 miles away. So you said it earlier, if you can do it now along the I-65 corridor, it's your best bet. Areas like Franklin and southern Kentucky, maybe Thompson Station, downtown Nashville. If you got to get the dogs out, try to do it now, because the lightning starts to approach, the wind will pick up, and it looks like we have some very heavy rainfall as well. Far to the south, we're still watching this storm very closely. It's moving into parts of Wayne County. Now, I know we just took a look at it, but the tornado warning that was attached to it in Hardin County doesn't really seem like this is going to coalesce into much of anything right now. So not really much in the way of rotation in this storm, which is a good thing. But remember, these severe thunderstorm warnings are for 70-mile-per-hour winds. So you have to expect this to go a little farther to the east. It's going to get into parts of Lewis and Lawrence County. It'll eventually probably make its way toward Murray, Marshall, maybe clip the northern portions of Giles County as well. So all of these are really important things to keep in mind, that these storms, while they may not be big hail producers, they may not necessarily spin up a tornado, 70, 75-mile-per-hour winds is certainly enough to cause some problems. Here's a report in from the emergency management in Stewart County. It looks like 1,400 customers are without power in Stewart County. If you remember, we were just taking a look at that storm not that long ago. That was farther to the west. It's still in Stewart County right now, sitting over Dover. So the severe thunderstorm warning again is there because of the 70-mile-per-hour winds. Those power outages could very well be from a lightning strike that hit a transformer. I would say more likely than not, though, it's probably from the good old gusty winds that are coming with these thunderstorms as well. Looks like a thunderstorm wind gust in Dover and Stewart County came in here at 54 miles per hour. So that was a local storm report that came in. It was from one of the Mesonet stations out there. Wouldn't be too surprised, though, if there were some wind gusts over that just haven't been read just yet. Now, this is looking pretty far out from the radar side itself. Oh, you switched over to Hopkins.
It's Hopkinsville.
I stand corrected.
Just so you know, this is at 670 feet off the deck.
So it's not that high up, not as high up as you would think, which, Dan, would, makes sense that we have power outages being reported in these areas as well. I think anything from a 50 to 60 mile per hour wind is going to cause power outages. Think of all the trees that are weakened from the ice storm just about a couple months ago here, and now we have these 70, 80 mile per hour winds that Dan was just showing for you near Hopkinsville. I mean, look at that, 87 miles per hour. It's not necessarily the wind right down here on the ground, but that being said, it's not going to drop off all that much. Look at all of that heavier rainfall from Dover, Hopkinsville. That rain is right on top of us. There's Pembroke as well. Oak Grove going to get a good thumping from this one as well as it continues to work its way to the east. There's that motion for you. Now, this image you're seeing down to the south and west here, off to the left side of your screen, I should say, that's still our Katie's camera, guys, that we're talking about? Okay, this is still our camera in downtown Katy. So this is the storm that actually just went through Katie's and is now moving east at about 45 miles per hour. There's 174 lightning strikes in this, which pretty much from this camera image here, it's showing exactly that. So the current time is 9:17, with this moving at about 45 miles per hour. In Kelly at about 9:23, Pembroke at about 9:26. Fruit Hill at about 9:32, and you're thinking here that, it's within Hopkinsville here within the next 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and up and down this storm, it might even be a decent hail producer as well. What is that, Dan? A quarter-size hail potential, you think?
Yeah, maybe a little exaggerated, but I'd say a decent dime-size hail probably.
Still on Hopkinsville's radar here, too, so a little bit closer.
Right.
Okay, so it might be a little bit more accuracy with that when it's a little bit closer to the radar site itself, but definitely wouldn't be surprised if some of these had some hail. I mean, the air that's moving in aloft is not only very windy, but it's also very cold, too. So when you get a big cold front like this, getting some hail is not something that's overly surprising, simply just because of how cold that air is. You're getting all of those frozen ice crystals there turning into, big hailstones and falling. Now, we're starting to get some rain moving into parts of Davidson County near Nashville, but none of that is of this strong thunderstorm. But I will tell you what I do see, Dan. Back in Waverly, this storm has really picked up. This cell, it wasn't that impressive about a half an hour ago. Now the lightning has really ramped up again. So that's probably showing us that near Waverly into Dixon, getting closer to Davidson County, is probably strengthening a little bit. Definitely has the lightning component, the heavy rain component. Wind might be picking up as well in that. So if we could, Dan, you wanted to put a little track on that just to see where we're going. It looks like northeast again at about 40, 45 miles per hour. That's been pretty consistent overall for us. So if we can get just a little bit of a timing on that. 194 lightning strikes is a lot compared to what we saw half an hour ago. So current time is 9:19. Gorman at 9:23. McEwen and McEwen High School, I know it says about a minute difference there, but it's pretty much at about 9:30. Probably hearing the lightning right now. We're getting some rain. It's moderate rainfall near McEwen, but Waverly, McEwen, heads up, very heavy rain is definitely coming our way. Like you said, Dan, it is looking like it's scooting just to the north of I-40, so you're thinking it's getting into Dixon County next, might get to Kingston Springs and Charlotte. Centerville and Lobelville will just miss this going to the north as it crosses over 13 right now, but still headed in the direction of I-40, and looks like, those little...
Yes,
what Dan's showing you there, is that's the little bowing there, right?
It's 3 individual bows. I'm concerned about Hurricane Mills. I'm concerned about the interstate right now. And this is when you can get some notches develop. When you get these little bows that pop up, and then there's a little notch, which is a little bending of the storm itself, you can get some rotation. So we got to watch right here on Interstate 40 at Highway 13. Could be some new rotation developing there, right here on the southeast side of Hurricane Mills. Again, no tornado warning right now, but it's an interesting part of the storm. one of 3 sections of this one storm. It's incredible that we'll have to watch it in between Hurricane Mills and Waverly. This is headed toward McEwen. You know, this is moving now north-northeast as opposed to due northeast. Looks like it's trying to move up toward McEwen, Dixon, and so these little bows, watch out. That's where the wind will be strongest. So these little rings indicate where we could have some rotation, but these bows, and so let's just zoom on down and look at the communities or the roads that we're talking about now. In these spots here, conceivably, there could be some winds to 75 that reach the ground. I wouldn't be surprised given the radar signature. So this is what we were talking about earlier tonight, that potential for maybe some wind gusts to hurricane force. Hurricanes start at 74, and then you get to 75 just east of Buffalo. Heads up, Wills Chapel in Taylortown, Bold Spring. Hurricane Mills just east of you, the strongest winds moving toward Milltown, and then near Gorman and McEwen. Probably very noisy right now in Gorman on the east side of Waverly and moving toward McEwen with that one lone cell. Wow, that's one of the strongest little sequences or a little series of parts of a thunderstorm we have on the radar right now. And then another one that we're watching is in Southern Kentucky, where Stefano talked about before, between Oak Grove and Hopkinsville. What you're seeing tonight on top of all that is that not only is it the initial wave, but we're seeing a secondary wave. Here's the initial wave here, here's the initial wave here, here's the initial wave here, and then here's the secondary wave farther west. So we could get multiple rounds of very strong wind. It is a possibility as all this pushes from west to east. Getting closer to Nashville, time now 9:22, and so it's inching along. Once you're past this back edge of the pinks and the dark reds, you're done. So you're done with your severe chance in Cadiz. You're done in Callaway County and Murray. You're done in Paris. You're now done in Dover itself, just east of Dover. It continues in the eastern part of Stewart County. You're done in much of Benton County, around Big Sandy, Camden. You're all finished. West Tennessee, so Carroll County, the severe threat is done. The temperature has probably dropped 15 degrees. We're probably in the lower 70s now, Nashville, and then behind that wave, West Tennessee, I'd be surprised if we're not in the lower to middle 50s right now in Dyersburg. We'll have to check that in a minute. And then we really drop back toward Kansas City.
I'll get you a better picture here, but this, I mean, yeah. You can see how bad the temperature drops.
Right. So 73 and then 59, just as we thought. And then some blue shading coming up here. So as you get back toward Martin, you get back toward Dyersburg, it could be in the lower 50s. And all that's going to move across the mid-state tonight and change everything in the feel in the air. For many of us tonight, the biggest story is this. Certainly the biggest buildup in anticipation of these storms is this. But I think for most of us tomorrow, the big story for the 2-day period is the cold. You know, you get some rain, you get some wind tonight, but I think many more people are impacted by the cold because it's all day tomorrow. It gets everybody, and it really is going to feel like winter with wind chills in the 20s. You need the heavy coats. You can't, you often see going into the supermarket somebody who just worked out, they have shorts on, it's in the 40s. You might see it tomorrow, but I think those that do that will be very uncomfortable.
You, Dan, tomorrow.
Do what?
You tomorrow.
Me?
Yeah.
No shorts for me tomorrow.
They're going to extend. They just actually did it. They just extended this severe thunderstorm warning. Right.
So now getting towards Spring Hill, here's Columbia, most of Lawrence County. So we'll see there's some spotters down there. The EMA is always out in Lawrence County, keeping an eye on what's going on down and through here. They're the ones who said, hey, we might see a wall cloud with that cell that's moving around Waynesboro with a Waynesboro live camera. Now it's getting into Lawrence County, so we'll see what they see down there underneath this storm here. It's going to roll up toward Columbia. So any of these downpours, even though they look ragged and pathetic, at least from a meteorological standpoint, they could send out some damaging wind gusts. And whether bowing, the bow is the most concerning part within here, right along the leading edge, but also back and through here. You know, Stefano shows how it's moving, it's bowing out, and you can easily get winds into the 70s. It's moving right there into northern Lawrence County. So we have Lawrenceburg, we have Etheridge. Now it's tough down here because we're probably scanning now at about 9,000 feet, 10,000 feet, right?
Yeah, exactly 10,000.
Yeah, so 75, that's 2 miles up. So we know that's happening tonight. And as they get closer to the radar sites, it becomes a lot more illustrative of what's happening within the storm itself as we get closer to the ground. Wow, look at all that. You know, Stefano pointed out before how this thing is intensifying, getting more organized. We're not seeing the 3 individual bows anymore. We're seeing the southern part down around Hurricane Mills. I think Gorman is in here somewhere. You know, you get Highway 13. This is a strong storm. I mean, it's obviously a severe storm. If you go to our website right now, the First Alert Weather app, it says severe weather likely for Middle Tennessee tonight. Not severe weather possible, not a chance of severe weather. It's likely for everyone. I think everyone gets at least a chance at this tonight. Could be some hail. Warning in effect until 9:45 for the next 20 minutes. You know, the radar gets goofy sometimes, 2-inch diameter hail. You know, that would be a surprise. But, you know, it's quite conceivable. It's quarter size, and quarter size is severe size. The size of a quarter is 1 inch in diameter, and that's large enough to do damage. The threshold 15 years ago was dime size hail, and then the Weather Service said, nah, let's move it up to quarter size. That's more representative of what's going to ding up a car or maybe do some damage to a roof. So it's possible we have that in through here right now, especially in the little black and gray shaded areas. That's going to move up into Dixon County. Dixon County doesn't have a warning. The eastern flank of this polygon, the northern flank of this one, doesn't get into Dixon County, but I think that'll change here in probably just the next little while. Severe hail, 80% chance. Could be quite large. And then here's the track. Salt Lick at 9:46, Milltown 9:46. We have Nunley at 9:51, and then Pinewood at 9:52. There's Nunley, there's Pinewood, and then here is Hickman County. Bucksnort, back there is Humphreys County, and then here's Dixon County. And then east of there, we get closer to Nashville. That little downpour is now over Briley Parkway. So right near
right here.
Clarksville Pike, Ashland City Highway, Briley Parkway, Scottsboro, and then it says, what does that say? Hover Trace? River Trace.
Yes.
Yeah, appropriately around the Gravelot and Marrowbone. Just a little downpour. No lightning with this. This is a sign of what's to come not far away. It's interesting how we have that lone downpour ahead of everything else. I think it's telling a story saying, hey, the atmosphere wants to develop all these initial storms out ahead. It's just not humid enough to do that tonight. There was some moisture in the air today. It was certainly warm. It's just not humid enough tonight for us to really get blasted as they got back in Arkansas with a tornado chance. Arkansas, Missouri probably had a dozen tornado warnings today. And here in the mid-state, what did we have? That one down in Wayne County
yeah, it was
earlier?
into Hardin County. It almost got into Wayne, and that was pretty much it. But that checks out with the dew point in the 60s there. But you look at Nashville, we're 52, so that's not overly conducive, where there's just not enough moisture there.
Struggling. So if we had dew points, a dew point is a way to quantify or put a number on how much moisture, how many water molecules are available in the atmosphere to rise and help make storms. The most moist air, the highest dew points out toward the Tennessee River, and that's where we actually had couple of tornado warnings before. Hardin County down into Mississippi, it's going to move into drier air. So the atmosphere trying to develop these storms out ahead. It's just not a scenario for that tonight because the atmosphere, it's not warm enough and it's certainly not humid enough. Those two together make for just limited instability in the atmosphere. All right, what do we have? Do we have a new report here?
It looks like just talking about the downstream warning. So they're just most likely what you said, Dan. You're most likely going to get these severe thunderstorm warnings get extended into areas like Williamson County. They'll eventually get into Davidson County. You get into parts of Murray County and Marshall, but maybe just not conducive for a tornado warning right now. You know,
and we'll see what happens, Stefano. If this thing holds together, everybody at home, we're not getting much in the way of reports right now, but it's so interesting when you move a storm like this over a population center like Davidson County, the number of reports amplifies exponentially. And so it really will give an idea of what the strength is of that storm or these storms tonight as we get them into the population center. You probably get some power outages. If this thing holds on, I think some people probably lose power in Davidson County. Stefano's tracking that, and it looks like up to the I-24 corridor, right in through here, 10:44 tonight. So again, a little behind schedule, keeping you up a little later. Back to school for the kids tomorrow in some of these counties that had spring break this week. Some other kids are on spring break this current week, this coming week, so they're not too concerned about losing sleep tonight. I get it, though. No one wants to stay up late concerned about storms. And again, once the back edge of the heaviest downpours move on by, you're done. You can rest assured it's not going to happen anymore. Dover, you're in the clear. And then you can see most of Benton County in the clear, all of West Tennessee, for the most part, in the clear. And we haven't even gotten into the conversation yet for the Cumberland Plateau, so it will be very late there. Winter, not done yet. That's snow. That's legitimate snow. In some of us will have snow showers and flurries blowing around tomorrow. Now, the thing about tomorrow, most of us, look at that temperature contrast. Unbelievable. Parts of Arkansas today had a temperature right around 80. Meanwhile, the northern part of the state was teetering on the upper 30s. So, and that's in one state. So 30 in Springfield, but we're in the 70s here. So it's possible even very late tonight. Look at that, by the way, tornado warning down in Mississippi. Late tonight, Dyersburg and Martin could be in the 20s with a wind chill in the teens. Meanwhile, you know, Knoxville could be around 70. That could happen late tonight as this continues to move on by. But tomorrow in the mid-state, you'll see flurries and snow showers blowing around. Most of us stay well above freezing into the upper 30s, so this would just melt on contact or blow around. But on the Cumberland Plateau especially, or an elevated surface that's made of metal, maybe a picnic table, something like that, patio table, you could get a little accumulation. Okay, Montgomery County emergency or amateur radio reporter said 5,000 people without power in Stewart County. So Laura Martler sends that report from Montgomery County Amateur Radio, 5,000 people without power in Stewart County. And that's on top of what we heard tonight in Dover. That was subsequent to, I think Dover initially was around 1,400 or something like that, 1,200?
It's about 1,400.
Okay, 5,000 people out of power, and it's from this year. So when we get it into the population centers, those numbers will go up. It's, you know, almost not preventable. This is the storm we'll have to watch to at least get part of the area, part of the metro area. That may get Robertson County. That may move over time up into Springfield, Greenbrier, Pleasant View. We'll see. All this moving along. But this is very heavy rain, and it will make some noise tonight.
We have a TDOT. We have a TDOT camera right there, right north of Clarksville, Tennessee, Kentucky border, guys. I don't know. You can't pull it up immediately, but if you head to TDOT, that far north camera in Clarksville has a pretty good shot of that storm starting to move in. So we'll get that up for you in a second.
In northern Montgomery?
Yeah, northern Montgomery, right at the border. Yeah,
and don't forget we have all the the city street cameras in downtown Clarksville that we'll really have to get on in the next 10, 15 minutes or so as this works in. So really close to Clarksville. Notice the new severe thunderstorm warning that takes it all the way to the Sumner County line. This in effect until 10:30. So the Weather Service is just painting the whole map with warnings. And that's a great call because any of these cells could generate damaging wind gusts. You know, the threshold for damaging wind, 58 miles an hour. We gusted to 51 today ahead of the storms. All right, we just, so this is Dixon County.
Yeah, let me go back to that storm for
We just had an incredibly impressive, what I believe was a positive lightning strike here in Bon Aqua. Incredibly loud and shook the entire house. Okay, so positive lightning sticks around a little longer. It seems like it really wants to have an energy exchange with the earth. And so it sounds like there was a very, very loud one around Bon Aqua. Is it, where are you seeing that? Down and through here somewhere?
Yeah.
Is it that yellow one?
It's got to be this one down here. There it is. And it's interesting, too, because that's pretty far out from the, like we talked about, from the worst part of the storm itself. So, I mean, that's not all that surprising. But, yeah, that would be that lightning strike. You
know, these storms are super tilted tonight. Stefano mentioned before, you can see the anvil when I did that 3D cross-section. So the anvil is the top of the storm. And so it looks like an anvil that you'd use to plane wood back in the day because the winds in the upper atmosphere are sending all this mass very quickly downstream. Jet stream winds tonight, I didn't look at the jet stream tonight, but it's probably up around 100 miles an hour. And so it's just shooting this downstream, but there's still some collisions in the anvil. There's still some charge differences, and so you can get the strike way out ahead in that anvil, which is seen here, shooting into western Davidson. This anvil from this storm, this is all just some of that mass. And so we have that All right, 2D cross-section. I love it. Thank you, Stefano. So under the hood again, each of these lines represents 10,000 feet. And so we're up around, this would be 10, 20, 30. The top of this thing up around 40. Does that look right? Does that say 30? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the yellow line is 30,000 feet. So if you're in a plane tonight, flying back or flying over Middle Tennessee at altitude, you're flying about 35, 36,000 feet right here. That's, you know, so the storm is taller than you. That's very high. And so this is the core updraft getting into this thing near Milltown. So we're talking about, again, not far from Hurricane Mills in Humphreys County. So the strongest part of the updraft pushes this
Tornado
up.
warning coming out, Dan.
Okay, where's that going to be?
Montgomery County.
Interesting. Okay. It's going to be right on the line. It looks like right on the state line, Stefano. You can see that indention right there. That's got to be it. It can't be this here.
No, it's got to be right near. It's got to be. So, guys, another reason for that camera that I told you out there is it just populated. I'm going to.
Okay. So
yeah, it looks like it's just that small sliver. It doesn't get into southern Kentucky. It's just northern Montgomery right now.
You know, but that's Paducah. So the Paducah Weather Service, if they were on board with this as well, and they may jump on board, they would paint the Kentucky side of this. What that means is some of you live right near the county line. Montgomery County, and let's err on the side of caution. If you're just over the state line, Oak Grove, Fort Campbell's right here in Christian County. Say again? You talking to me?
I'm talking to the producers.
Okay, yeah, you've got to be in your safe spot. Northern Montgomery County and in southern Christian County, let's play it safe and get in our safe spot. There could be a developing tornado. What do we see in rotation detector?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for split screening one of the Clarksville street cameras. Is this coming out of Hopkinsville? Okay, good. But the radar, Stefano, where's your signal coming out of?
Oh, this is coming out of OHX.
OHX.
Let me switch it over to Hopkinsville for you. Apologies.
All right, so we see windswept rain in one of those Clarksville cameras. This is the Hopkinsville. So we always want to use the radar closest to the cell, and it doesn't show tremendous rotation very close to the ground. This is probably 700 feet up. So this is about as good an idea what's happening at the ground as you can get. And so we've got a lot of interesting, you know, if this is the radar, we've got inbounds, we've got outbounds. A little confusing here as to why that's painted red. Okay, it's not velocities, that's why. It's just the rotation. I don't know if it's this. It is sort of noisy. Not a whole lot.
No.
But still get in your safe spot and make sure you're doing what you need to do. Around Fort Campbell, go to the lowest interior room, protect your head from flying debris. Lowest interior room for most of us, first floor, bathroom or closet with no exterior windows. Now, some of you don't have that. You have no basement, you have no storm shelter, you have no bathroom or closet that doesn't have a window, and I get it. That's concerning. What you need to do is get into an interior hallway. And so it's too late to go to the shed or the garage to find a piece of plywood, but we call them creative tornado shelters. And you want to essentially lean the big sheet of plywood from one wall down to the other. So it makes a little triangular, you know, compartment for you to crawl under, and that's what you should do if you need to take shelter in the hallway in the future. So something to think about, but for most of us, the bathroom, the closet's going to work because you don't have a window. Use pillows and blankets, protect your head from flying debris, and wait till this thing rolls on by. We're not going to go off until this is done. My guess is it's going to be a long time from now. So we'll give you the all clear when we have it, but we don't right now for time to come. There's Fort Campbell. And so we have all the soldiers and their families up there right now. The number one thing you do when you have a tornado warning is you stay calm the whole time. You never get freaked out. I know for some of you this is a concerning moment, but you always stay calm because your body just reacts more sensibly and quickly. You go through the process of what's the safest, smartest thing to do next when you're calm. Look at that. That is fantastic. So Jackson, our director in the back, showing the wind-swept rain in Clarksville, and it's sheets of rain. It's sheets of rain. It's horizontal, close to the lights, and horizontal down at the ground. This is why I said, hey, don't travel in these storms tonight. You know, some of you don't have an option and you got to go somewhere, but this is not the time to go to Walgreens to pick up the thing that you forgot. Fort Campbell, right there. It's a rough little storm. So you have reduced visibility because of that road spray, because of the windswept rain. You know, at night, I explained this to my kids the other day, and I said, hey, do you know why you can't see as well at night when it's raining as you can when it's dry? And it's because you don't have reflection from the headlights into all the little nooks and crannies of the road. Those get filled with water and they absorb the light. And so everything looks darker and more difficult to see at night. So again, just stay home if you can. Don't go traveling in this. Here's Nashville. We're getting close.
That's a new severe thunderstorm warning too that I just populated.
Okay.
Just issued. It
Go ahead.
They just filled the gap to extend it out farther.
Got it. So we have Robertson, we have Montgomery, we now have Cheatham, we have Dixon. Looks like we have, I just heard our first rumble, and that's probably from this over in Bellevue.
Which again is pretty interesting because we're so far out.
Yeah.
We're so far out from this line. This is moving 50 miles per hour. So they are picking up a little pace. What were they, 40 miles per hour about an hour ago, and now 45? Right. And so, yeah, they picked up a little bit, maybe not a ton of speed, but yeah, enough to be noticeable.
They could get up to 55 or maybe even 60 before the night's over on the Cumberland Plateau. This is feeding a strengthening storm in the upper Midwest right now. So as it gets stronger, it's sucking in more air, and so the wind speed's just going to increase. Look at the timing here. Dixon County High School, 9:43. Dixon County, or Dixon itself, 9:44. Charlotte, 9:45. Creekwood High School, close to 10 o'clock, 10 minutes to 10. Burns, White Bluff, 5 minutes to 10. Clay Lick, Bellsburg, 9:55, 9:56 or so. Cheap Hill is 9:58. And so you get the idea. Look at all this lightning. That's going to get Ashland City, Pleasant View right here. It's going to get Pleasant View directly, it looks like. And then Springfield and Robertson County in time. Could be some hail. Probably is some hail with that lightning core. There's another one that's going to roll across Dixon, probably Kingston Springs. That has a chance at Hendersonville in time if the trajectory doesn't change a whole lot. So we'll have to watch this thing in Milltown. Maybe if not Hendersonville, maybe Gallatin, if it's a little north of that movement.
And there's that hail swath.
Looks like it's rolling. Maybe Gallatin, a little farther north of Hendersonville, based on the hail track history.
Yeah.
We'll take it like that, just north of Hendersonville. All right, Mobile 4 is at it. Where are we, Mobile 4? Got it. Kingston Springs headed toward Bellevue. So they went to the west, they found it, and now they'll come along with it as it goes to the east. So they're just off the map, Mobile 4, and they're showing that, yeah, this is not too good tonight to be out there. Amateur radio report from the corner of Dixon and Humphreys County line, 2-inch hail at their residence. Amateur radio report.
We were talking about that storm. Yeah, that was the radar had 2-inch hail.
It did.
Yeah. So
that's nuts.
It's not terribly surprising with how tall that storm was.
Yeah.
Would you say 40,000 feet?
Yeah, I mean
30,000 feet.
35.
It's still pretty good. That's definitely tall enough. And hey, this storm that I have brought up down here, the one that's in Wayne County.
Yes.
Well, they just had pea-sized hail.
Okay.
But and it's moving into Lawrence County. They're monitoring that for rotation right now, but it hasn't really done anything yet. But it's just it's kind of something you talked about earlier, how these storms they can spin quickly, but not necessarily, hold it together very well.
Yeah. Wow. It just looks like heavy downpours and lightning, but there's more to it than that. Very strong winds potentially tonight. Severe thunderstorm warnings up and down the line. If you're on the Cumberland Plateau, I know it's still hours away, expect the same thing as they get to you. It'd be surprising if we didn't have that. Now, the initial rain to get into Nashville should be light, very light. As we flip to our radar, First Alert Live radar, how's that looking here? Is it showing all this stuff a little more intense, moving in through Cheatham County into Davidson County? Is another little spoke of heavier downpours. Bellevue, that may get to West Nashville. So our WSMV4 studios right here. So we may hear in just a moment or two a sudden burst of heavier rain. We'll see. It may not be loud enough to hear on the roof. There's Westmeads, the Bellmeads in here. And so we're starting to get the initial chances at some noteworthy rain. And then that'll clip downtown Nashville, Englewood, East Nashville, and then get up into Old Hickory Lake in time. Clarksville camera's still going. Still an awful time to be traveling in Clarksville. We still have a tornado warning in northern Montgomery County. Still have that. Stefano's flashing one of these storms tracking.
I'm not sure why that came up, actually.
Okay, let's take a look at that Montgomery County again, just to get an update on that tornado warning. Again, in Nashville, get yours in time. Look at the lightning going away from this thing. So here's the tornado warning. In this storm is almost lightning free. It will be interesting in rotation detector. Is that showing anything new?
So we're going to have to use OHX. Hopkinsville's radar is now down for the night, according to the National Weather Service. So this is the best view we're going to be able to get. Okay,
so we're pulling out of Nashville. We get some outbounds in the red. We've got some green inbounds. But at least at 6,000 feet up, we don't see tremendous, what we call gate-to-gate rotation, where it's one bright green on top of one bright red that looks like it's not just noise from the radar. We see a big gap in through here. What that means is, you know, there's some outbounds, some inbounds, but it's broader rotation. It's when the rotation tightens up and we have the reds and greens touching one another, then we get more concerned about, wow, as it's tightening, it's going to stretch and may stretch all the way down to the ground. And that's where we say, hey, that we could have a tornado developing in a certain spot. Right now, it doesn't look too nasty there. But now, did the Weather Service put out a tornado warning here from Paducah? Looks like they did.
For
Christian and Todd. So they joined forces. So that's why we said before, hey, get to your place of safety. It's two different offices working on two different geographical areas. And so they eventually caught up in Paducah and put out this side of the storm tornado warning. So Elkton, Trenton, Guthrie, stay in your safe spot. That could be it. Yep.
Yeah, that's probably the best area of rotation that's within this.
And that's right at the radar. That's right at the Hopkinsville radar site, which I think is right about here, and it's down, so we can't use that. But we always try to use the radar that's closest. Just a little bit of lightning there. So that's one positive note on that storm, that it's, hey, it might not be a storm that's creating or generating or producing a tornado currently, but we have to just watch out for that. We getting some storm reports?
Yeah, it looks like a 51-mile-per-hour wind gust, Waverly and Humphreys.
Okay.
So that was when that storm, let me go back to it, that was farther to the south, the one that this one here that really fired up. Remember, back in Waverly and into Humphreys County, that's when it first started to gain some intensity, but it didn't look like a whole lot, and then it got even worse when it started to get into Dixon County. So I wouldn't be surprised if you get more storm reports from, you know, maybe Van Leer, Charlotte, Dixon itself, because that storm's right on top of Dixon right now.
Van Leer, Charlotte, Dixon. Dixon's going to get that hail chance. Hey, look at this. This is interesting here.
Little notch right there.
Pretty solid inflow notch right north of the interstate. So Mobile 4 was back in Kingston Springs moving toward Davidson County. So
there's your hail report in Dixon County, 1.5 inches.
Say again?
There's your hail report in Dixon County, 1.5 inches.
Okay. Southwest Dixon County from this.
Yes.
So this is severe hail, and it's about to get Dixon.
Let me pull up
Tennessee City. Is this 70 right here, Stefano? This must be 70.
Yes, that's 70. Where Tennessee City is, right where Dixon is, that's 70.
It's gonna bisect Highway 70 in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, there's your hail.
Pretty good hail. 1.5 inch diameter.
Actually, this will tell us pretty well if, I mean, that's pretty spot on from the radar. Radar's got 1.5 inches. That's the report we have in there. But like you said, we're pretty close to the radar site here, relatively speaking.
So golf ball hail is 1 3/4 inch. So just a little smaller. I think it's ping pong ball size is 1.5 inches right here. And so that's gonna cause some problems for people. Again, too late to get outdoors and move vehicles around. Just to hope that it doesn't get you. But it's in here somewhere, and it's probably right here. Right here we see the blacks and the pinks most intense. So we're going to watch north of Interstate 40. Do we get some rotation? Rotation detector didn't show a whole lot there?
No, it had nothing on there. It didn't show a lot. Now we can look at the regular velocity and see what's in there, but it's a little bit noisy right now, which isn't terribly surprising. So.
Yeah. Hey, is this rear flank downdraft right here, or is that a different storm?
No, that I believe is...
Okay, it looks like...
It's kind of a second storm.
Second storm, okay. And here comes another one, as if you need more rain. So have we got more than 1 inch of rain from this in any of these areas yet?
Let's take a look.
I would think it's got to be in some spots.
It's got to be pretty close to it.
Our area, yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. That was...
I don't know if that yellow is 1.5 inches, and it's these darker greens are more than 1 inch, or...
So that yellow is about 1.5 inches, it just barely into the northern portions of Christian County. These darker greens are probably close to 1 inch, just over that. So
quarter, yeah.
That's not that surprising.
No.
These are massive rain producers.
Massive rain producer, even though they're not lasting tremendously long. I mean, you think about in the summertime in Florida, you can get 6-8 inches per hour, but it just doesn't rain that long. It's a sudden downpour that it lasts 12 minutes and you get 1.5 inches of rain down there where there's so much moisture available. So if we're raining for an hour and you get 1.5 inches of rain, it's no surprise. And it's all moving toward Davidson County. Starting to move in.
Did BNA just issue a ground stop? Can somebody, okay. BNA just issued a ground stop.
Okay, all right, so no flights in or out of Davidson County. Of course, you have all these aircraft maintainers that are moving bags on and off the aircraft, refueling jets, and that's a really bad idea when you have lightning coming in. So that ground stop, I don't see how it doesn't last hours because...
At this point, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how this gets by, and then they say, hey, it's, you know, so that's going to really back up some flights tonight.
There's your hail reports coming in again, Dan.
Okay, 2-inch size. Now, I wonder if that's the same. That must be them typing up those last two reports.
Yes, I think that's
1.5 and 2 inch. Now, official reports. There's Nashville. BNA is right here. And if they shut it down already at BNA, I mean, this is the main line of storms. And then you're still at threat for lightning for a while afterwards, at least 30 minutes. So it's going to be a long time for Davidson County to get some flights back into the international airport there. We're starting to get, though, Stefano, we're starting to get a main line sort of gel up.
So you have this cell still here, Columbia, Lawrenceburg, but then you're right, that line has become very linear.
Yeah.
Back on the backside of that.
Right. The winds in the atmosphere are becoming more unidirectional. That means from one altitude to the other, they're stacked up, going in the same direction, and that's what you get. And so we saw that happening tonight as more cold air comes in aloft. Stefano said we're getting colder in the upper atmosphere tonight, much colder tonight as some energy comes down from the upper Midwest. And one of the byproducts of that is a linear line of storms there, or a linear depiction of storms. Davidson County, still no severe thunderstorm warning. It is all around us. Williamson County, not yet. It is just a matter of time. And again, when this hits the population center, this hailer right here, where's that hailer going to go?
Yeah, let's take a look.
And can we back it up 30 minutes just to get the right movement on that, too?
Yeah, absolutely. The tornado warning has expired, by the way, in Montgomery County.
Good,
so
because
we're good there, like we thought.
Looking pretty sad.
All right, there's that hail core.
So here it is here.
And let's go a little bit. So it was tracking near 40 it was actually tracking right up 40. And then started breaking a little bit more to the north. There it is in Dixon. And
West side of Dixon.
It's very interesting, too, because you still has that notch you were talking about, just a little bit. I think the hail is definitely the big part of this right now, but it does have that little notch in there, too.
Yep. And it looks like it's trying to tighten up.
Let's look at the hail swath. I mean, that hail swath is pretty much right on with... There's Milltown, Hurricane Mills.
Yeah.
McEwen got some hail, too. I mean, that's there.
This may go to Pleasant View.
Yeah, let's see.
So Pleasant View is in northern Cheatham. If you look at the path of this thing...
So it's got a little bit... We'll just try to go...
Maybe Ashland City. This is not going to be... This cell, unless it reforms itself, will not be a hailer in Nashville. Doesn't look like it has a chance right now. And sometimes these things turn, but I think if anything, it's going to turn more north as opposed to more east. And so heads up Pleasant View, Robertson County, probably, if this thing holds on. And it's been a hailer for a while. I mean, if it hails the same distance, that easily gets into southwest Robertson County.
It does.
Dixon, 1001, Charlotte, 1008, White Bluff, 1012, Kingston Springs, 1019, 1021 for Bellsburg, and 1023.
And I think now that we have the more consistent line that you're talking about, Dan, you're going to see more consistent movement with the storm, you know, kind of as a whole. You know, we've had some break-off storms that have moved a little farther east or a little farther north. Now you're going to get the whole line kind of moving as one here, as opposed to when it was a little messy farther to the west.
Yeah, and so that may cause us to have to redo a storm movement in time. So do I see a red polygon still?
In southern Kentucky, yes. It looks like they haven't gotten rid of that one. This is the one that, but this is also the one that was a part of Montgomery County. We just haven't gotten a report that that one's expired. So there's, I mean, that's
it's
next to nothing.
No sign of anything there. Okay, 4,700 people without power in Clarksville. And so, I mean, there's a lot more people in Clarksville compared with Dover. And so this is hitting Clarksville right now. We're not done with power outages in Clarksville if we have like 5,500 or so back in Dover. Wait till this gets into Davidson County. I think some of us do lose power unless we get lucky and we get a break in the line. Still the Clarksville camera showing windswept rain. We've got a number of these produced or provided by the city of Clarksville. So we're very grateful to the folks there that allow these things to be on the internet used so we can share them with you at home as the storm is hitting your area. So right there, now shifting to the east side of Clarksville. Then in just a matter of time, western Robertson County, northern Logan County getting into some rough weather right now up around Russellville Points North. But it looks like Robertson County is next. It's going to be a little bit for the real bad stuff in Davidson County. We'll see what part of it any line gets you in Davidson County. Look at all that lightning. So that's going to get 24. Now, I know we have, I think it's the exit 11 camera. I'm not sure how far down exit 11 is, whether it's here or
in
here.
Clarksville?
Yeah.
That camera, let me see if that, I checked it earlier, it wasn't functioning, but let me see if it's.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, it's down. That Clarksville camera's down.
Because that would take a direct hit from this, and that would, if it's it's at the off ramps.
But what's interesting? We should. I was looking here earlier, but now that storm is so far north. We had cameras right along I-40. North of Dixon, south of Dixon. The storm is now north. So if you look down where that hail core was, if it had followed along I-40 like it was originally, we probably would have had some cameras catch it there. But now it's kind of lifted north, which is, I think, what you were saying, Dan, that, one, it has to hang on to the hail.
Yeah.
Two, I think it's kind of consistently moving a little bit more north than it is east, which is, that's kind of a big change because it would take it north of Nashville.
Right.
If it was going east, big hail coming to Nashville. But this may not even get Pleasant View. This may get, this may get Western Robertson and skip Pleasant View. We'll see. We're talking about this hail cluster here that is a hail history of producing, 1.5-inch hail, ping pong ball size hail. I think we had 2-inch size hail on that one also.
On that one? Okay.
It looks like now it's still trying to put out 2-inch size hail.
Incredible. Yep. And so obviously this is hail history. This is not the current position because, as Stefano's showing you, here's the lightning core. So this is like a 5-minute delay for the hail interrogation. It has to scan the whole storm and run some equations. So the reflectivity, which is the more normal conventional radar signature, is current, and that shows right in through here. That's where the hail is between Dixon and Charlotte. What is that? 13? What is this street here? Highway.
That's Dixon. Highway 70.
Dixon to Charlotte. What is that?
That is
46. What does that say?
48.
48. Okay. Wow. So Sycamore Road, Westfield Road. If you hear the hail, once the storm comes on by, you want to send us a picture, you can upload them to the WSMV4 weather app. If you don't have that app, go to your app store, search WSMV /4 weather, and then you'll get our app and you can upload it. We'll put it right on TV because it comes right to us. It's very convenient. But 48, Ridge Road, Stage Road, Old Stage Road, Ridge Road, looks like Sylvia Road, this pond, the community of Pond, all in this area. There's probably some meaningful hail. By meaningful, I mean decent size. Not what we want, but we want to just see what it looks like once the storm goes by, if you want to share that with us. Clarksville, again, about 5,000 people without power. West side of Dixon, a little hail pocket there on 46.
Yeah. And First Alert Live Radar is doing a great job. This is our radar that's all the way out in Nolensville. It's doing a great job with the hail cores. It really is. And actually, Dan, you can see that there's a hail core in here because look at the radar on the back side of it. Look at that gap.
Right.
Where the radar beam, what it does, it tries to go through and it hits all that hail and it can't. So you get this almost line, this gap in the radar, and that's a way that we can forecast and almost kind of confirm that there's some pretty large hail within this. You don't usually get that with smaller hailstones. That hail has to be pretty big in there to completely wipe out the radar beam.
Yeah, no question. You're absolutely right. Right in through here, as the signal is coming from here. and it just
blocks it out.
it's all because of that attenuation. Yeah, essentially just it gets most of that signal, absorbs it and reflects it, and it's gone. So, and you can see that continues on up just south of Marin. Okay, so maybe some moderate rain getting into Davidson County. Looks like it might be trying to. I can't imagine that the TDOTs are showing a whole lot yet, but they might in time. Where's Mobile 4 right now? I'd love to see Mobile 4, just see if they're Charlotte. So Charlotte, what is that, right up and through here somewhere?
Oh, yes.
Oh, Charlotte Pike? Okay, I thought it was Charlotte and Dixon County. Oh, okay. All right.
So this is there's that hail core in Dixon again. I figured I'd give you a better look at the timing.
80% chance of severe size. We established before, we said before, that's at least quarter size or 1 inch in diameter, so about 1 1/4 inch size. Moving up this way. Yeah, we'll see if this track holds, but it may get Pleasant View or even north of there. Timing from Stefano, Clay-Lick, 10:16, Bellsburg, 10:24, Chapmansboro, 10:28, and Cheap Hill at 10:29. So all in through here.
Looks like somebody in West Dixon had a report of ping pong sized.
There you go, 1.5 inch. Wall cloud, Mount Pleasant, Cameron, Murray County, says the Tennessee Valley Weather Authority.
Okay.
Let's see what that looks like. Mount Pleasant. We mentioned Mount Pleasant before, that a storm would go toward Mount Pleasant, and it's probably the same one from Hardin and Wayne counties. So it's this one right here. It's still incredibly electrical, still some substantial rotation. So there's a few storms on the radar that by themselves are still saying, hey, I don't really want to be part of this line yet. Like, this is one of those individual cells, and it's pretty much by its own. You see some rain with a little lightning farther north, a little more farther south. Tornado warnings, Christian Todd, Logan County still in southern Kentucky. Looks like the Montgomery County has dropped off.
We'll take a look at those.
We're going to watch this in through here. Hail could be ping pong ball size on the north side of Mount Pleasant, and that could get you in Thompson Station in Spring Hill. When you get a minute, Stefano, let's verify this track, or verify the last 30 minutes of movement, and get right to the community, because these are big Channel 4, WSMV4 watchers here, so let's give them a heads up as to when that's going to...
Here's your 30 minutes. We'll follow that hail core south of Hohenwald.
Here it comes.
Mount Pleasant. So you're right, tracking, it definitely has much more of a northeast track.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I don't know how it avoids Thompson Station. Some of you in Spring Hill probably get some of this too. There's 840. Lanton, 1025. Neapolis, Spring Hill High School, 1024. In Spring Hill, 1029. Heads up, there could be some hail coming in. Right now in those two communities, it's lightly raining or doing nothing. You know, you might hear a thunder clap from time to time, but there's really very little thunder nearby here. Some lightning back with this storm. You might start to hear that. But if you have the car outdoors, you haven't put it away yet, this is the time to do that. Thompson Station in Spring Hill. This is probably putting out quarter-size hail, and it looks like it's coming your way. Steve Mailing is over in West Nashville. Steve, what are you seeing out there tonight?
Dan, it's a lot of lightning, honestly, is what we're seeing. We kind of parked up on a place where we can get the best vantage point. As you can just see, the sky is lighting up with the amount of electricity that's out there, and we're kind of watching as these storms roll in from Dixon County, from Cheatham County, and we're trying to give you guys the best kind of vantage point. The rain just started to pick up a little bit a couple minutes ago, but on the roads, not too bad. There weren't a lot of cars out on I-40 when we were moving this way, so that's always a good sign, especially because when these wind gusts get going, I mean, they could push your car all over the road. So when we were out in the Kingston Springs area, we got our first couple shots of thunder and lightning, so we decided to stay ahead of the storm, get up to a high elevation, so we could kind of give the best angle. I know we're not too far away from the station, but I think this is going to give us the best idea of that stronger line pushing into Davidson County right now. So a lot of lightning right now, not a ton of wind gusts from where we are positioned right now. I imagine that's probably coming our way in the next 10 to 30 minutes. So that's definitely something we're going to keep an eye on. But on the other hand, everything looks pretty good out here, at least in the West Nashville end. Just a reminders for people driving on the roads. If you are out on the roads for any reason and you're encountering these wind gusts, just a reminder that those larger trucks, box trucks, semis, the back end, if they aren't hauling a full load, could be a little bit uneasy on the back end. And sometimes when you're positioned behind those semis, there's a little bit of push and pull with the wind, especially with the gusts that are going to be on I-40. So it's just safer to just back off. I know we were slowing down a little bit just to make sure we were staying safe, because the quicker you go, the more the rain speed comes up and the visibility was getting a little bit lower. But we're kind of just waiting here, seeing what these storms are going to do when they roll in. As you see, the lightnings every about 5 to 6 minutes right now. So we're going to keep an eye on the sky here and the winds, and we'll hopefully check back in with you guys in a couple of minutes.
All right, Steve Mailing in Mobile 4. Thank you, Steve, for that. Staying safe in western Davidson County. Rain moving in, not overly impressive yet here in Davidson County with the wind, according to Steve, but they're going to make sure they stay safe and keep giving us updates as the main event eventually gets here. Now, that nastiness back in Dixon County, one of the strongest storms on the radar, and it's looking even more like it has a notch, Stefano, and even more wrapped up.
And it's also doing what you said it would do. It doesn't have a lot of east movement to it now. Really, I mean, it went from Dixon to Charlotte.
Yeah.
So that's more north than it is east, obviously.
Right. Yeah, as the winds and the mid levels of the atmosphere start to bend in that direction. And so this is going to miss Steve in Mobile 4. He's right out here. Charlotte area, Charlotte Pike.
Might miss all of Davidson County at this point.
I think it is, yeah. I think it will. May split Cheap Hill and Ashland City, or Cheap Hill and Pleasant View, we'll see. And so what is going to get Davidson County? Let's find what's going to get Davidson County. It could be this one north of Centerville, you think, or maybe something?
It's got to be close to that. I mean, it looks like everything. I mean, if you just go through let's go the last 15 minutes, and I'll take it out a little bit wider. I mean, you can kind of look, everything is definitely shifted. It's moving more.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something down across the south here in southern or central Hickman.
Looks like this big cell that's down in Columbia, that'll go south. That's obviously going to go south of Davidson County.
Yep.
I think it might miss Franklin. It might just barely.
Oh yeah, I think it's Smyrna, Laverne. I think it's up to Lebanon, maybe. Yeah,
Murfreesboro for sure.
May get Murfreesboro, West Side for sure.
And this is kind of a cell on its own too. Like you said, it doesn't want to be part of the main line right now. So they're watching this one for rotation.
You know, Murfreesboro downtown is here. The bulk of it east of I-24, but in the last several years they've been building like crazy in this side, the western side, west of I-24 off of 840. So there's a lot of Murfreesboro homes in through here, and they may get a little chunk of that.
My wife has her business has one of the buildings, new buildings there, and they've sprung up so quickly in that area.
So quickly, a lot of real estate out there.
Yeah.
So in time, it'll get east of I-65, then it will cross I-24, then it will ascend the Eastern Highland Rim, and then it will get to the Cumberland Plateau. That's why we're saying it's 10:08 in the evening right now. We're in the middle of our 10 o'clock news. Still working into Davidson County. 10:30 for downtown Nashville. It should be picking up quite a bit. And we're still seeing 1 to 2 in the morning for the Cumberland Plateau. Here is the back edge of any severe threat. Clarksville, you're done with severe weather. You're done with damaging wind for tonight. Hopkinsville is done. All of Houston and Stewart County is done, so Aaron's in the clear. Humphreys County is done. And so it's this line points east. Decatur and Benton counties all done. Henry County, so you can get some rest. But it's this here. Oh, look at that.
And yeah, this storm is going to get into probably southern Lawrence, if not Giles County. This is a tornado-warned storm.
I bet that looks a lot nastier on High Top.
Oh, yeah. Let me see.
We'll see if we see a hook, and so we'll be able to identify the worst part of that, but you're absolutely right. So there's the High Top radar. It looks like it's probably right here. It may get Florence or the west side of Florence. And what do you think? Say, is that Loretto, Leoma? What's down here south of Lawrenceburg? I'm trying to remember.
Get in there for you. Loretto's right there.
Loretto. So we got to watch you. And Pulaski, 64, will get hit in time. We'll see what happens.
But the thing is, that's a supercell in it itself, too. So that, that's got structure to it, and it's also by the way, the area that it's going into south of Lawrenceburg into Pulaski, that's really an untapped environment too. So you're getting a lot of moisture built into that area already from this, and now that storm's got enough free range to do what it wants. So it holding its strength is something that wouldn't be too surprising.
No, I agree completely. And there's a likelihood that we scanned that storm before. It was 35,000 feet. I wouldn't be surprised if this is 45,000. Can we do 2D cross section on this one?
Yes, sir.
Just to see what's moving up into Lawrence, Giles counties, Marshall County in time. Two distinct little areas of hail, but he's going right across the hail core. And so 30,000 feet is the yellow line right here. And so we're easy to 40,000. Looks like the top of the storm up around 50, 45 or 50,000 feet. And look at all this mass that's all the way up through, again, the altitude at which planes fly. Okay, this is live in Florence, Alabama. And so what a great view as they look westbound. The whole sky is lighting up all across there near Muscle Shoals. You know, no sign of any wall cloud, no sign of any rotation.
Whoa, that was a big cloud to ground lightning strike too.
Hey, is that a massive rain shaft right in the middle of the picture?
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. You can see it.
It looks like, yeah, well, it's taken full, but yeah, right in the middle of the screen, you can see just there's some lighter shades toward the horizon on the left and right of that. So we're seeing the bulk of the hail and rain come down in that rain shaft.
Okay.
What a great picture that is, right from there. So we're looking at,
Here we go.
right in through there.
Tornado warning coming out for Columbia, Spring Hill, and Williamson. So let's get back up to that.
Okay, all right.
This is the storm we were just talking about.
You know, and so we said about an hour and a half ago, as we were in our wall-to-wall coverage, sometimes these storms generate spin-ups, generate tornadoes, tighten up with the rotation, and then it dissipates, and then they get going again. Same storm. Yeah, Stefano's got the inflow notch right here, north side of Columbia.
Get us back to OHX too. See that OHX looks a little better with the inflow notch.
You know, would there be debris here? Is that like trying to wrap around?
I think so. Okay, so there's that warning.
On the north side of Columbia.
You want correlation coefficient? You want debris detector?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Could be. It's gonna match pretty perfectly.
One of the things you'd said earlier too is interesting with everything that's in bloom now too. You know, these storms are going to loft a lot of freshly grown leaves off of, flowers off of trees too.
Yes.
So, but it's interesting. This is the best rotation we've seen. So this is
absolutely. That could be pear blossoms. We don't know because the Bradford pears are starting to cast that everywhere. Cherry blossoms, but it might not be. So this is gate to gate. What are we getting here? Is that about, looks like about 60 knots of rotation there? I'm just guessing, the red and that green. Okay.
90.
So he's got the core here. He's got 90 in the whole storm. And so that's on the north side of Columbia. It's going to cross Franklin Road 31, the Spring Hill, Thompson Station. You know, it doesn't get Franklin. It stays south of Franklin. So it's going to go up over Thompson Station, Spring Hill. You have a tornado warning right now. So tornado warning in effect until 11. Brand new tornado warning from the Weather Service that covers Franklin, but in all likelihood, it's going to miss downtown. We'll have to watch this thing in case it wiggles. There have been storms in Oklahoma City before, storms in central Oklahoma that are going a certain way, so all the storm chasers go on a certain road, they think they're fine, and then the tornado does one of these and takes a 90-degree right turn. So we know that tornadoes can do what they want to do sometimes. They can go left or right. So we want to say downtown Franklin will be okay, and it will get in through here, staying south of there, but that's no good for Thompson Station or Spring Hill. You know, so that's the way it looks like right here in the crosshairs. Spring Hill High School, 1024. That's from the rotation. Stefano drew that from.
Hey, Dan, look at the bottom of your screen from Tennessee Valley Weather Authority.
Okay. So power flashes on our Columbia camera, numerous.
Let's go back to correlation coefficient. I want to see if there's anything on the debris.
From our Columbia camera, numerous power flashes.
Let's go back.
Got to be in your safe spot, Columbia.
Is it there?
This was the best correlation coefficient or debris detector blob that we saw, and it was right near the gate to gate. It was right near that. So
in the last scan, look at how much it's tightened up.
yeah. Let's see the streets here, Stefano.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So State Route 6,
Yep.
Sam Johnson Road.
Okay.
Looks like John Sharp Road, Red Oak Trail, U.S. Highway 412. Go a little farther. Theta Pike as well.
Yeah.
One of those main roads.
Yeah. Hampshire Pike. Yep. Shantae Acres. So you're next in line, Neapolis. Neapolis is here. Franklin Road.
It should cross right over. Well, it's tracking with Nashville Highway. There's 31.
Yeah.
Neapolis all the way down. So the rotation looks like it's out of, Columbia itself? Just missed the city center at this point?
But it's just on the northwest side right now. This just updated.
Yeah.
Still tight rotation here.
I'm going to go gate to gate again because that looks like it's gotten stronger.
What are we scanning now at about 2,500 feet?
We are 3,000.
3,000. Okay.
70, 80 still?
Okay.
Yeah, it's
yep.
not-
So that's within the storm, the peak rotation, but it's really tight right here on the west side of Columbia, and it's going to go right up toward Neapolis. So remain calm, get the kids out of bed if they're back in bed, if it's a school day tomorrow, and just say, hey, we got to go to our safe spot. It's spring. It's just what we do in Middle Tennessee sometimes. Go to your lowest interior room, protect your head from flying debris. And so pillows, blankets, helmets. Pillows and blankets are, in most cases, the easiest thing to grab off the couch because a lot of us have those just on the couch already. As you're going to the closet, as you're going to the bathroom, if you haven't prepared your safe spot, and in cars and mobile homes, really not the place that you want to be as these storms roll on by. Tornado warning, there's a bunch of counties until 11 o'clock. We have Murray County, Williamson, southern Williamson, and still in parts of southern Kentucky as well as this batch of storms moves on through. For now, the most dangerous storm we see on the radar is down in Williamson County. What you got?
So I was just, we're talking to the EMA director
Good.
in Columbia to see what they're reporting. So we'll get some information out of them, especially because we had the power flashes that were reported.
Yeah, so we're not going to leave you hanging. Hey, let's break for a second, Stefano, and go back to Clarksville and just reassure everybody up there where we had the tornado warning before and reassure the folks that where we have those tornado warnings in Kentucky, we're not really concerned anymore. So all these tornado warnings are clear. Clarksville is clear. You just have some light to moderate rain. We had tornado warnings in parts of Christian, Todd, Logan counties. That's even gone. So the tornado warning, is this just in northern Warren County?
Yes.
So if we can update that on the screen, if we show that again, is it even in Warren County? It may not be.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so let's.
I think we're good.
So we're good in Kentucky. So it's just Williamson and it's Murray. And are there any other county? Does it get Marshall? Is it just Williamson, Murray? Stays out of Marshall. Those two counties right here. That will take it over Nolensville. You know, that'll be interesting to see if.
It's right at our radar site.
Yeah.
We have our camera there. It's net 8, guys.
And so we're eventually talking about, Stefano, once this thing moves by, Triune, College Grove, the Arno Road area, right off of 840. All these areas, you have a tornado warning. So you need to go to your safe spot now. It will guide you through this. It's down toward Neapolis and Lanton, just north of Columbia. The most dangerous part of the storm, very electrical. Hey, is that really tightened up there?
Even more.
Wow. So now see if you can really get the, it's just off of gate to gate. See if you can get this one and this one here.
Which ones again?
These two that are pretty close. There's a gray pixel. So we're 80 miles an hour over a span of a couple hundred yards.
Yeah, it's
Maybe, I don't even think it's 500 yards. So that's very tight. And what's the debris detector show now? Okay.
yeah,
Well,
it's less than 2 miles.
okay, so it's much more than I thought. 2 miles.
Let me see.
Yeah, that's good. That's reassuring that we don't see any big blue or green blob because that would be an indication that there's something flying through the air that's likely from a tornado. So not to say a tornado is not on the ground, but what we're saying is that we don't see.
Well, now
It's a little cooler. So we'll see if this drops in the next scan in the next few minutes to blue or green. We'll know that something touched down there and may still be on the ground.
And I think something we talked about earlier, too, is when you have a tornado warning in something like this, they can have the tendency to hop. They touch down, they come back up, they touch down again. The rotation's still there, just it doesn't hit the ground.
Right, exactly. You go into Franklin here, that's Franklin Road. So they call that Nashville Highway here to give you the lay of the land. Goes right up to Spring Hill, and it's right on top of that area right now. Right over Nashville Highway, which is Franklin Road 31. Oh, you hear that rain picking up now?
Yeah, that rain just...
Okay. So the side, so you're going to get the siding, or you're going to get the bricks, or whatever it is. You're going to get the wood washed tonight as this wind is blowing the rain onto the side of your house. All that coming in from the west. There's the track of that potential tornado. Tornado warning in effect until 11. Time now 10:20. We have it at Neapolis at 10:24. Spring Hill and Spring Hill High School around 10:25 to 10:30 this evening. Summit High School 10:33. Cameron Farms at 10:34. Cameron Farms around 10:34. We're talking about you up and through here 13 minutes from now. So just remain calm. Get to that safe spot. 10:34 Thompson Station, Independence High School. What does that say for Independence and Sullivan Farms?
10:43.
All right.
10:36, 10:43, sorry.
Okay, so 10:36 Independence, and then you get up toward Ladd Park, 10:43. Sullivan Farms, south of downtown Franklin, that general area around 10:43. So 22 minutes from now, one tornado warning, 2 counties in the mid-state, and now these are the most populated counties. That looks like a new picture, and that doesn't look as nasty as it did before. It still looks strong.
It's definitely,
outbounds,
there's
inbounds. Ooh, this is looking even more favorable. New picture, and it's trying to broaden out. The closest area of rotation, these greens are weakening, so the inbounds are weakening, and they're spreading out some. So that's a good trend. Let's hope that continues.
Looks like lightning hit a house in Dallastown in the subdivision of Franklin.
Oh, house is on
That's
fire.
the Williamson, working fire at this time.
Brother.
That's from the emergency management.
Okay. And now Davidson County is going to get warned.
Yeah, let's go to that.
For severe, and they just did. They're painting the whole Middle Tennessee not black tonight. They're painting the whole thing with severe thunderstorm warnings tonight.
I wonder if this one is mostly, it's got the 1-inch hail on it. This might be more for the wind now.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably got some, at least, pea-sized hail in it at this point, but I think the hail core fell off just a little bit.
Yep.
It's still there in some spots, but...
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's overblown, and it's probably, Petadime, maybe nickel.
When it was a more isolated, organized hail core on its own,
Yeah.
I think the radar was doing a little bit better with the accuracy. Now that it's, now that you're in more of an organized line now at this point, the hail goes out the window, and now you start focusing on the wind again.
Yeah, no question. And it's nice and formed up in one line, so we'll see. Here we are in West Nashville over here, and so when that line hits our transmitting tower, which is right beyond that door, it's a quarter mile high from the base to the top, and it makes a tremendous amount of noise as the wind goes through it, and so we'll get a feel for how strong that wind is.
And by the way, the rain you're hearing in Davidson County is not the severe thunderstorm warning, because we can hear it right now on our roof, and that's not it.
Yeah, these are just healthy downpours. Mobile 4 right now. So where's Mobile 4? Is that 440 or Interstate 40? 24. Okay.
Okay, so they're...
Okay. Just came off of Briley, so maybe they went up. Did they go all the way up to the interstate?
They going north on 24, or they going south? Do we know? Eastbound, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so they're headed toward city center. So they're...
I don't even see 24.
It's right here. Look at north of Jolton.
Okay. Yep, so they're coming down this way, down toward the city. Righty. So we'll get to see what it looks like in downtown Nashville here soon. Just west of them, though, over in Ashland City is that wall of rain.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Is that our tower camera or is that Nolan? That's Nolansville.
This is Nolansville, but this is where that tornado warning is headed for. So, guys, Nolensville cameras net 8. If you ever want to get a good look at that, that's headed right for here. I'll turn on First Alert Live radar, and there's Nolensville. Our radar site's just south of that. So all this is headed right toward.
Oh yeah, is this it right here, Stefano? Oh, it's gone. Nolensville again. So, and I think in that perspective, we're looking toward Laverne and Smyrna. So I think we're looking east-northeast.
Yes.
From that Nolensville camera. Got it. Okay. Our Mobile 4, Steve, mailing is going to the home fire, the house fire down in Franklin, where there was a lightning strike and it caught the home on fire. So we'll get a live update from Steve here shortly. All right, here it is. Lanton, still gate to gate, still very tight rotation, but it's not nearly as strong as it was before.
Yeah, let me get down.
So Stefano's going to shift that up a little bit. We'll get a good view of that. And so, look at that.
It just rescanned.
Just what we want to see. This is trying to fall apart. It's not done yet. Definitely not done. Tornado warning remains in effect, but
50, 60.
The trend is much better. Yeah, we were scanning at 85 before, right? For a rotation.
Yeah.
This looks more like noise than it does anything else right now, so that's good. But again, this is the storm that had a tornado warning earlier tonight in Wayne County, Hardin County. Looked like it produced a tornado between Corinth and Ripley, Mississippi, at least for a couple of moments. And so the same storm is holding on and now getting into southern Williamson County here momentarily. So we'll see if it tries to produce again. We don't know if something's on the ground or not. Rotation halfway between Columbia and Spring Hill. Okay, mile marker is 51 to 54. Perfect. That's just what we identified. I'm reading a report from the Weather Service, and so they're saying the same thing we just said. We're all looking at the same storm. Yeah, right around here.
You can see the inflow, but it just doesn't look like it's as good as it was.
And it's questionable. Is it this or is it that?
Yeah.
Is it trying to shift farther north? This is Cameron Farms. We mentioned you before, so assuming that best rotation is here, that should miss you Cameron Farms to the east. It should cross I-65 right here and miss you in Cameron Farms just to the southeast. Maybe get Arrington in time. So Arrington, you're still certainly in play. In Ladd Park, and again, Thompson Station, Spring Hill, we're trying to hyperanalyze where this thing is and where it's going for the most likely scenario for if there is a tornado that develops or on the ground right now, where it's going to be. Tornado warning continues, hail, ½ inch or less with this cell. So pea to dime size as it moves along to the east and north. So look at all this on the north side.
Yeah, we're going to go
pretty
back.
Noisy now in Cheatham County.
That's ramped up quite a bit. Again, that was
Totally.
And we're using First Alert Live radar, gang, 'cause it's done such a good job identifying the hail cores. So you're not really seeing the deep blacks that we were earlier, so you're just kind of more pink here. That's definitely heavy rain. There's probably some pea-sized hail in there, but it doesn't seem like the really big hail cores that can cause some good dents in your vehicle are there right now, at least.
Yes. And I have no problem with that because my car and your car is outdoors right about here. So we'll see. We'll get to see the aftermath in time. But it's over Kingston Springs. It's about to get Pegram, Bellevue, the western side of Bellevue here momentarily, and then and slide along. This looks like just rain around Brentwood, downtown Franklin. It is really coming down the west side over toward...
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt. Can you guys go back to our Nolensville camera? I know you got two. Sorry, Dan, but there's a bunch of cloud-to-ground lightning on Nolensville right now.
Yep. They're seeing, Weather Service is seeing potential rotation up here. Is there something trying to develop here or here around Ashland City? So let's look at that. Maybe something right here.
It's got to be right on top of Ashland City.
Yeah. I mean, here are the outs, and then here are the ends. That's the most likely area that would be, right on the river, essentially.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yep. So that's an area to watch. That would get up toward, northern Davidson into Robertson, as we mentioned before. What are the velocities, Stefano? As we go to base velocity, look at them here.
That's pretty.
Some of these are ridiculous. Some of these are in the 80s. You can tell that's probably in the 80s there. 79. And so this is just off the ground by 1,500 feet or so.
Yeah, it's about 2,000. So
2,000.
it's not all that far off in the grand scheme of things.
That is the height, essentially, of a little higher than our transmitting tower. So should make a lot of noise. When we've had tornadoes touch down, there's been 2 tornadoes hit John Tune, if not 3, in the last 15 years or so. And the sound coming out of our transmitting tower wires as the wind flows into that is just phenomenal. So we'll see within 10 or 15 minutes what that sounds like. We did say that our roof camera is no good. It's not functioning right now?
It is not
Okay.
that I'm aware of them. Yes, it is.
That's the thing about all the electronics. You think about all the electronics that are used at a TV station. I don't know how many hundreds of computers we have. Some have to not be functioning at times. It's just the way it's inevitable. I mean, think about all the times that your smartphone glitches on you. And so that's the case tonight with the rooftop camera, but hopefully we'll have that sometime soon. This may be the rotation they were talking about.
That little notch
That might
right
get
there.
jolting. Yeah, this little notch developing. It's tough to tell because there's a bunch of notches.
Which one again, Dan pointed out?
Let's just see what.
Yeah, right there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were looking
We
at.
see anything, and then we'll go back to
It's still there, but it's all very noisy.
Yeah.
All right through there.
noisy. All right, let's go back to Spring Hill and Thompson Station. We don't want to leave them too long because they have a legit tornado warning, and it's probably right here in the county line.
Yeah, the National Weather Service even said it's on the downward trend for the last couple scans, which is what we were pointing out, and that's definitely good news.
Yep, perfect.
I wonder what the velocities are in there, though.
There.
Let's see.
This is the road. I'm trying Saturn Parkway. I've been thinking for 10 minutes the name of this road. There's got to be Saturn Parkway that goes from the interstate. Woo!
There's our transmitting.
So that just got our transmitting tower. So lightning, again, is out ahead of this, out ahead of the main rain. And so, we're talking farther north, but there's the storm that's prompted the tornado warning, which is much larger. Here's downtown Franklin. You don't have a concern from this. That's going to go to Arrington. 840 right in through here. I'm not worried about downtown Franklin at all, but Ladd Park is more in the game. Arrington certainly so. College Grove, without question. It may split between them and then get up toward Laverne or Smyrna as it passes just north of Murfreesboro that way, moving up in that general direction.
And that's a lot of that's the most clustered lightning we have, I think, right now.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I think you're probably right. Oh, look at that. There's another little wave down there.
Yeah, I've been wondering what's been happening with this storm down here. The tornado warning is off of this one in Florence.
Good.
But I'd wonder.
Good to get an update there. We have Loretto that we are watching.
I wanted to lapse it so we
toward
can.
the north.
Yeah, see, so that's going to track that. That's probably just going to hit Loretto and Lawrence, but then it goes into Giles, and that's probably more for Pulaski. Look, they just actually reissued that tornado warning. It's just not in our area yet.
Yeah.
So.
It looks like the southern extent, the little notch trying to form up there is doing a little better now. It's got a little moisture. NES is reporting 3,000 without power. Okay, so we have, if we add them all up so far, the ones that we've gotten from Stewart, Montgomery, Davidson, we have about 13,000, maybe 14,000 people without power. And you knew it was going to happen with how windy it was today, and then the talk of maybe 75-mile-an-hour winds. I made a point in, I think it was an update about 2.5 hours ago to say, it doesn't mean everybody gets 75. It just means where we have the heaviest weather. Are we still tapping the high top radar?
We are not. We're back to OHX. You want high top again?
No, just okay. Got
Wait
you.
a second. No, I'm wrong.
Got it. Okay.
There we go. We're back to OHX.
So this is so where we were watching before is right down here. That rotation's probably down here and moving this way on the south central part of that tornado warning. And you can see how that would get Smyrna. That might get Laverne. That would get into maybe Mount Juliet or Lebanon or in between there. Could get up to the Raceway, the Super Speedway, Gladeville. We'll see. We'll keep watching that. But as Stefano mentioned, the Weather Service confirms that they're seeing the same thing, that is trending downward in its rotation. So this goes to 11. We still have 25 more minutes. We'll see what happens with the rest of that 25 minutes worth of warning. Look at this cell. This looks farther west Fairview and Linton like it's just as strong, but you can tell it's not because of the lightning signature. So that just means it's a lot of rain, a little lightning and thunder, but the updrafts are a lot less significant here. There's fewer collisions within the storm, and so it's more downward. It's more just raining out from above. Looks like the heaviest rain is not far from us, Stefano.
Certainly not. Here,
We're right here, I think. Yep. So we are just a few miles as the crow flies.
Let's see. And like we said, the hail signature is really broken apart too. So I don't think hail's a big problem with this at this point. Wind for sure, heavy rain, but
Yeah.
there's not a big hail signature anymore.
How does TDOT look in Bellevue right now? The TDOT cameras. Do we have any of those anywhere in here? Say again.
Pulling them up now.
Nice.
And like we said earlier, by the way, we're still at that ground stop at BNA, and you're not anytime soon.
Yeah.
Not 30 minutes, maybe not even an hour.
You think if a flight's coming from Raleigh or from Atlanta, I mean, it's only got a certain amount of fuel. And so if the ground stop happened and they were on the way, they're going to have to go somewhere else. They don't have probably fuel to circle around or not that they would circle around in this, but so there'll be a lot of impact with that permeates into tomorrow morning. There's that tornado warning. This is getting so close to downtown Nashville. And just as soon as we get something that's decent, we will show you a live camera on 40. Bellevue, getting it good. Here we go. 40 west of Charlotte Pike. Let's see how slowly these cars are going. Look at that. So, Stefano, we're looking, the top of the screen obviously is east, and
Yes.
the bottom of the screen obviously is west. And you can see just the sheets of rain. That's incredible.
And you know, when I first moved to Nashville, I lived in Bellevue for a little bit, and all the folks in Bellevue used to call it the Bellevue split because it seemed like every thunderstorm that went to Bellevue split and went around it. Yeah. And that's just not the case this time around. And you can see some people have their four-ways on a little farther up the road. I mean, the camera doesn't do justice how blinding that rain is with the wind. I mean, those windshield wipers, they probably can't even keep up at this point in some cases.
Yeah. And so if you get an 18-wheeler and you're going into this or coming from it, it's not, it's not the end of the world. It's like a headwind or a tailwind, but it's when it bisects the road. So when this gets to 65, if anyone's not expecting it and they get a high-profile vehicle, that will be a problem. So we just showed you a rainy view in downtown Nashville, and the rain is moderate at worst, but it's about to get a lot nastier as that comes in. Tornado warning continues for 22 more minutes unless it's canceled with this cell, but it looks a lot less organized, a lot more disorganized compared with before. It is, as you look down, it's hard to see where we would be looking, for a tornado signature. Is it in this here or is it farther south? So that's what we want to say and see. Can you hear that picking up?
Yeah, oh yeah, you can hear it big time.
So you can hear the wind through the guide wires of our transmitting tower starting to get going.
You want to take a look at the velocity, see what it's like?
Yeah.
All right, looks like they're continuing that tornado warning. But
it has an ominous, you can't hear it, but from home, it has an ominous, deep.
It's like the sound of every scary movie you've ever heard. That's exactly what it is.
Oh, brother.
So this is pretty close. You're only, like you said, our transmitting tower is 1,500 feet. That's about where you are right now. So,
yeah.
You're 50, 60.
And it's steady.
Easily.
Yeah, Stefano's pointing all these out, but he could do it here, here, here. So it's going to be blowing like this for a bit. Now you can hear the rain hitting our building from the west.
I'm going to go pop my head outside and see if there's any hail coming down with this.
Yeah, you get your camera?
Yeah, I think right now it's probably just rain.
Yeah, but I'm sure it'll be worth shooting. And I'll come over to the controls here. Oh, it looks like we lost our ability to route. Just hold with me 1 second. Good. So 65 we're seeing on the screen there, split screen. South of, you said south of Brentwood? Okay, so probably mile marker, heavy rain, probably mile marker, I don't know, 72, 73. Just pushing south. Next in line will be Concord Road, mile marker 71, exit 71. Could be a sign for that. And it's really in advance of the heaviest rain. Let's see if I can pair up where we're going there. On Mobile 4, Steve Mailing and his photojournalist, I believe it's Sam tonight. Okay, so yeah, they're in an area of the storm where it's moderate rain. So Mobile 4 probably cruising along right about here that we're split screening right there on the interstate. So when they get into this stuff that's over in Grassland and north of Franklin, we'll see what happens. They're in the tornado warned area. So they're actually in the official tornado warning, but this storm has rapidly lost some of its identification. Some of its, sounds like we just took another hit of lightning. Maybe not. Power's flashing here, it seems. There's the storm that prompted the tornado warning, and it looks, you know, as I pull up the rotation detector, it's difficult to discern any rotation at all. So I'm not, I do want to tell you, Murray County, you've got the all clear officially. So the tornado warning has been canceled for Murray County. It's still in progress for Williamson, but I don't see any signs of rotation. So let's hold on a little bit. Let's not come out of our safe spot yet, but it's very good news. Very good news, obviously, for Arrington, for College Grove, for Triune, for Almaville, for Laverne, for Smyrna, so on and so forth. Hey, we got to watch this cell down here around Mount Pleasant. This could be the strongest one as I reset on the radar. It looks like it probably is, at least in Middle Tennessee. There's that tornado warning farther south down toward, I think it's Florence. So we got to watch that too. But, oh, good. Steve Mailing, you have an update for us in Mobile 4?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Dan, we just passed through Brentwood, so we're getting into the top of Williamson County. Rain definitely started to pick up. There's patches, I think, when we're going through a couple of these different cells ahead of that storm. We're getting patches
Aaron,
of
your notifications
heavy rain and shorter rain. So we are looking at a couple cars slowing down on the side of the road, a lot of them using their hazards. So if they're out here, as we're getting a tornado warning in our area. So we are driving into the warned area. Currently, we are passing, let me see which exit we have here. We're passing, I believe that's Moore's Lane, Gallery Boulevard. So we're down in the Cool Springs area now. So we're kind of getting into the meat.
All right, Steve. All right, we lost Steve's mic just there for a moment, but thank you, Steve Mailing, down in Cool Springs. So this is the view heading south through Cool Springs. And so you can see some of the bright lights in the distance, some of the hotels and big buildings along probably McEwen, that general area, passing the mall here shortly. And it shows just nasty conditions, something you probably don't want to drive in. And so they're going to continue south. Hey, good news, the tornado warning is canceled for Williamson, and so that's no longer in effect. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, though, for this entire line. And so there's really, I would be surprised if we don't see this scenario continue for much of the rest of the evening while the storms march on by. Crossing 65 now, severe thunderstorm warnings up and down the line. I don't know that we have the same thing in southern Kentucky. We'll have to check Simpson County, our friends there, because we have a lot of people who watch from Simpson, Allen, Monroe counties. Doesn't look like you have any warnings. Warden County, you're warning free. So this is just in the state of Tennessee. And then once you get south of the state line, we have this little beast of a storm that we're going to have to keep our eyes on that looks pretty wrapped up. We go to the high top radar, which is out of Huntsville, and get a better view of that. And look at the rotation detector. Some rotation just south of the state line, down around Lexington, near Minor Hill. Where's Ardmore? Ardmore's going to be around here, so Ardmore's back here.
You guys switch to any of the Nashville cameras while you're doing this. Maybe double box it. The wind just got there, and it is pretty bad.
Good idea. Yeah, let's do that. Let me go back to the. Let me go back to our radar. First alert, live radar. Only live radar in the mid-state, and it shows the rain right over Davidson County. Severe thunderstorm warning continues. And we're watching it for you on WSMV4. We're not going to leave you until the storms are done, and we'll let you know when the risk is done in your area. The risk is done for the rest of tonight for severe weather in Dixon, in Cheatham County, Springfield. The severe threat is done. Clarksville, it's all done. Centerville, it is done. And then south of there, once you get back toward Hohenwald, it's done. Severe threat is done. Waynesboro, all done. But in this mass of red and orange and pink, south of Columbia, this is trying to develop another little notch. We'll have to watch this. Clearly, we still have a severe weather threat.
Wow, in Lawrence County, there's a utility pole into a tree, and the tree's on fire.
Oh, brother. All right, Lawrence County. Mount Pleasant, we're going to have to watch down there. Between Mount Pleasant, Kalioka, and Columbia, it looks like we're trying to see a little rotation develop. We don't have a tornado warning with us right now, but here comes another storm, that same storm that I just referenced, now moving back into Murray County. So it's going to roll over Columbia, get up to Lanton again, maybe Spring Hill. And so stay tuned on that. Could be a little hail core developing with the updraft with that as well. Along 43. 412 is running east to west. So here's 43, right in through here. Here's 412. And so that hail core, which is the pink and the purple, is going to roll right across those two areas. It's actually happening right now. So we'll watch that. That's a pretty intense storm in our area. And then farther north, right into Davidson County. Now, what are we seeing there for a live camera? 40 west of Church. How does that look? Ah, that looks, wow, you can see how it's just coming right across. So that area right there is north-south because this is wind-driven coming in from the west.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is the scenario where you got to be careful about the trucks, the high-profile vehicles. Hey, Stefano, we were just listening, and the wind really picked up. It lasted maybe 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. I hear a little breeze, but it seems like it's really gone down.
But when it picked up, I mean, just that 2 minutes was definitely. I mean, we've seen reports from everywhere.
Yeah.
That 2 minute gust, that 2 minutes of wind is enough to knock out power. It's probably some tree limbs down in some areas too. So you know, these are very fast moving. I mean, they're here and gone. You know, what'd you say, 2 minutes tops?
Yeah. What do you think you saw for wind when you looked outdoors? 50?
We had to have been 50.
50. Okay.
Now we did lose power when I was outside. We're trying to get that video up for you. We did lose power, so I think we're running on the generator right now. I don't know if the rest of the neighborhood did, but it definitely wasn't a lightning strike that caused the power loss because we were standing out there, and if anything was going to get hit by lightning, it was our tower. So
yeah. What is the velocity showing now, the wind speeds as from OHX? So we can tell Madison and Hendersonville and Mount Juliet, what they're going to get right on the leading edge. There's that 2 minute burst that you just said. This is it.
Let me see.
Right here.
We can go up and down the whole line.
So that's the most meaningful wind with this, and then it's still gusty, but severe caliber. Some of you get maybe 75, some of you get 58, some of you get 56, some of you might get 63. But it's all moving. It's going to go right over the lake. You know, so if you know where you are in the lake, but if it has a little area to accelerate on the lake, if it's coming in from the west, anyone who lives right over here, you might get the worst of it.
Tornado warning coming out for Davidson, Sumner, and Wilson. Probably right here.
Interesting.
It's gotta be this.
Okay.
Right? Did I make that? No, I didn't make that up. My mind. Okay. Yeah, it's gotta be this.
Okay, it's right here in Madison. Look at that. So just north of Briley.
Good, let's fill.
Okay.
It's gotta be.
You see that right there?
Oh,
north of Briley?
Sorry, yes. Hang on.
On the south side of Madison, between Madison and Inglewood. Yeah. I mean, wow. if that's not noise, that looks very intense. Gate to gate, probably close to 100. This is super noisy because it's tough to tell.
Yeah, it's hitting so much.
Yeah, what any of these blues mean. But if this hangs another volume scan, what streets do we have? So we got to be in our safe spot. Parkwood Estates, Montauk.
Briley Parkway.
What? Yeah, Briley Parkway, Chadwell Drive. You need to be hunkered down immediately, Madison.
Looks like it'll head towards Old Hickory.
Oh, yeah. Stay calm. How close to the Weather Service does this thing go? Hermitage, is Hermitage going to be grazed by this, or is this too far north at Hermitage?
I think it's
Hermitage, so it's not Hermitage's problem. It's Hendersonville is going to come toward you.
LaGuardo's in that warning as well, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be real interesting to see where that thing, what the next scan shows, because that doesn't look too good there. And it's going to roll right here, this part of Hendersonville, this part of the lake.
Yeah.
Right here.
You know, it's interesting how subtle it is on the reflectivity.
Right.
But then right here.
It's also interesting that we have rotation detector turned on, the warning rings?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So in just another couple of moments, we'll see what's, but it's definite. It's got the direction correct, outbounds, inbounds. Here's the deal. If this goes away in the next volume scan, that doesn't really mean anything other than there could have been a tornado that lasted 30, 40 seconds, because that happens sometimes. It could be on the ground. We get these reports all the time, EF0, EF1, and it lasted 150 yards. It was 50 yards wide. So they could be little blips. They can develop and they can go away. Vietnam Vets and Conference Drive. So we're looking up in Hendersonville right now, which is in the path of this potential tornado. Tornado warning again. Davidson, Sumner, Wilson, Williamson has been dropped, and Murray have been dropped. So we can drop those from the lower third there. So it's just Davidson, Sumner, and Wilson. Murray was canceled, and Williamson was canceled very recently too. All right. Did we get a new picture? And
we did.
And it's an Easter egg hunt. You have no idea what we're.
Go back. It was there.
I don't know if it would be in here.
That looks so broad, though. I think you were right. It was there. It had to have been south of Madison.
Yeah.
North of Inglewood, and then.
Is this OHB, Stefano? Is this Old Hickory Boulevard?
Yes, that's Old Hickory Boulevard.
Okay. So across Old Hickory Boulevard, the Hermitage Golf Course. I wonder if that's farther south, but I think that's in that area somewhere. Cherokee
I think you're
Woods.
a little farther south, yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if.
Old Hickory. You know, National Weather Service is up there. So they obviously have pretty significant interest in what happens with this little pocket of rotation. And then we get into Hendersonville, and there's all sorts of neighborhoods here with a thickly settled area. So Hendersonville being your safe spot, Madison being your safe spot, and we'll keep you updated. The debris detector was just too noisy to be useful, but at a minimum, you're going to get 50-mile-an-hour winds, and you can see it right here, and it's blowing in that general direction. There's Inglewood for perspective, Avondale. So south of just you know, where my knees are is downtown Nashville, Old Hickory. So the strongest wind is now getting to the National Weather Service.
Which means we should be getting a report from them here.
Absolutely.
Very, very shortly.
Yeah, they've got their anemometer. So there's the radar site. So the wind's going to blow over there. Hendersonville, you're probably, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes away from the max wind that you'll get all night. Millersville is just out of the tornado warning. So it's really Goodlettsville, Hendersonville, Madison, Inglewood, and points east-northeast to Lagardo and northern Wilson County, as Stefano mentioned, and then south of that line that extends from Millersville and Goodlettsville between the two, south and southern Sumner, as this moves along. So.
And Dan, this will give you an idea of if it's populated yet. The tornado watch has been canceled far to the west.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously all those storms are gone. So
Yeah.
I think it just puts some minds at ease.
Thank you, and have peace of mind, Decatur and Hardin counties as well. This is from the National Weather Service in Memphis, and they're canceling things at a different rate than the National Weather Service in Nashville. And so, but you're done, so you can forget about it in Decaturville and forget about it in Hardin County. So it's just a formality that you still have the tornado watches. There's no severe threat for you at all for the rest of tonight. But here's our lone tornado warning right here. And so it could have been a quick one. I did a story on this like a week ago. What a challenge it's going to be for the Weather Service to get out there tomorrow and look at, hey, we had a little rotation couplet. We had an area of strong rotation tonight, and we look at it tomorrow and compare that to areas where there's parts of trees that have been knocked down because we had the ice storm that took down millions of branches and probably thousands and thousands of trees. Oh, brother, is that Lawrence County now?
Yeah, that's the one that just moved. Okay, Tennessee Valley weather says possible tornado on Minor Hill camera.
Okay. Well, they're in a good, if they have a Minor Hill camera, they're in western Lincoln County.
Right here.
Or is that, that's not Lincoln County, that's western
Lawrence,
Giles.
Sorry, Giles, you're right.
Yeah.
So this
they would be in a good area to see that.
Let's see if there's any. Oh, we're taking another power hit.
Oh, brother. Hey, look at that. What does the correlation coefficient look like for Huntsville?
Oof. Yeah, hang on a second.
Because that is that could be contaminated there. That's the high top one, and that shows a little pocket of cooling with all that hail.
Bet you it has a better look at the.
We're looking at the Giles County camera right now.
Let me see.
Okay, so this is what they're saying is a possible tornado hosted on right now, and oh, that's tough for me to see. I don't know.
You can only. This is the problem with nocturnal events like this. The only way you can see them visually is when the lightning flashes.
They're saying possible tornado on the ground with power flashes, 5 points in Bonnertown area. This is from.
There's the power flash.
Tennessee Valley Authority. I see maybe a little lowering there, sort of in the middle of the screen. Do you folks see that at home when the lightning flashes? A couple of little lowerings, but you've seen power flashes, huh?
I thought I just saw one.
Wow, well, it's certainly a busy setup there. I don't know if that's a tail cloud on the right side of the screen there, sort of jetting out to the left part of the screen. We're looking at Giles County right now, where there could be a tornado not far from Minor Hill. So far southern Middle Tennessee.
There's the tornado warning that was just issued for it, too.
Okay.
Oh, wrong mouse.
Giles and Lawrence County, new tornado warning. Meanwhile, Davidson and Sumner and parts of Wilson County, we have a tornado warning that remains in effect. In the Madison area, moving toward Hendersonville. We'll get you updated on that storm. The rotation here, is this still out of high top?
Yes.
Is phenomenal. So this rotation is it's not really gate to gate, but it's very intense rotation in the lower part of the atmosphere down there with that cell. There it is right there.
Let's see if the debris detector's gotten any better. Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. When we're looking at debris detector, we're looking for cool colors like, blues and greens matched up perfectly with the peak rotation. So we didn't see that there. We just saw sort of a messy yellow sea of maybe some red and warmer colors, not cooler colors. But this is where it would be, just west of Minor Hill. So Loretto, you don't need to be in your safe spot. Minor Hill, you do. Pulaski, you do. It's going to get to 65 in time. Definitely a very powerful storm in southern parts of the area. Can we get an update on Hendersonville?
Yes.
Let's see if we got a new scan there. Old Hickory, Hermitage. There was one nasty little scan that we had around there, and so that prompted the tornado warning that showed a lot of rotation. Now it's right over the radar
site.
site.
I was going to say, I think that's your problem, is you're sitting directly over the radar.
Yeah. And like we said before, this is in effect, this tornado warning, until 11:30 p.m. Sometimes in environments like tonight, you get a tornado that lasts 20 seconds. And so if you see it one scan, you don't see it the next, it doesn't mean it was fake. It just means that it's gone. You know, it's gone for the time being. So, but the tornado warning remains in effect for Gallatin, Castellan Springs, Legardo, north of Mount Juliet, Hendersonville, north side of Hermitage, and back toward Madison. Although Madison, if you're right in downtown Madison, Inglewood, you're in the clear. You know, this could be trimmed. The Weather Service is way too busy to do that, and they could pull out Madison and Inglewood, but they won't because they just don't have time for that. So we'll just tell you right now, Madison, Inglewood, you're in the clear. But over in Hendersonville, you're not, certainly not. Hermitage, Mount Juliet, and certainly not east of this as it's moving this way up toward Gallatin, Castellan Springs, and so on and so forth. Downtown Nashville, severe threat is done. Dixon County, definitely so. Franklin, severe threat is done. It's all shifted east of you. So it's Nolensville down through Spring Hill and Thompson Station. We're still watching you down here. And then farther south, Murray County, Marshall County has been quiet all night. Chapel Hill, Lewisburg. You know, this is not going to get Chapel Hill. This is going to pass north of them.
Yeah.
What do you got?
There's tornado damage over the state line in Alabama from that cell.
Okay, storm chasers in northern Alabama see tornado damage from this cell here.
I'm going to go back to
this one.
High top for a second.
Yeah, and that definitely looks like the strongest. This could be the strongest one we've seen all night. It's possible. Right definitely on the Lawrence-Giles County line for that peak rotation now. Right here. West side, northwest side of Minor Hill. Lifting up through here. So crossing 31 in time, 64, eventually getting to 65 as it lifts toward the northeast. One of the signs that this is just super powerful is all the lightning. The whole thing is saturated with lightning. This is the core of the storm, and it's a big core. And so just south of the state line, back toward Lexington and Anderson, somewhere probably between the two, some storm chasers reported some damage.
And by the way, whatever's in there is probably rain wrapped too. Yeah, more likely than not.
Yeah, it certainly could be right here in the rain. Yep. So Pulaski, be hunkered down. Lowest, most interior room of your house. If you have a basement, good for you. If you have a storm shelter, get there now. Protect your body from flying debris. Most of us don't, so it's the smallest, most interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Sometimes you've got a bathroom and there's a set of walls around that, and then there's the outer walls. You may even have a third set of walls before you get to the outside of the house. So you want to put as many layers of protection between you and the storm as possible. That's why we say the most interior room. Never upstairs, always downstairs if you have a multiple story home. Never the attic, never the garage. The garage doors fail often. If it's a legit tornado, those can be blown in. And then you think about all the shovels and rakes and whatever in the garage blowing around. That would be terrible. So never seek refuge in a garage. Never go to the crawl space. None of that is safe. Use pillows and blankets. Cover your body, your head from flying debris. And it's not fun to think about, but you get abandoned cars and mobile homes. If you are stuck in traffic and a tornado is coming along and you can see it's going to just bisect the road that you're on and probably hit your vehicle, you're more safe to evacuate that car and go lay face down in a ditch than you are to stay in that, because there's a chance any tornado could loft a vehicle or a mobile home. So that's why we say that.
This tornado warning out of Davidson.
Okay, Davidson.
Just Sumner and Wilson now.
Just right here. So it looks like it's even getting out of Old Hickory. It's in mainly Wilson, right?
Yeah, if there's rotation, it's got to be down in Wilson.
Yeah, Legardo.
It's probably going south of Gallatin, Castellan Springs. It's sitting on top of the radar. It's so hard to tell.
Yeah. Gonna do that. 231. Then get up toward Macon County, Red Boiling Springs. Macon County been pretty sleepy all night. Trousdale County, Hartsville, no stranger to severe weather. Not much happening all night.
I think if there was something there, we would know about it because it's right on top of the National Weather Service.
Yeah.
Too. So I think we would have much more of a confirmation there. But
Tornado
looks like
possible. Okay, so the new severe thunderstorm warning. 6,500 homes without power in Murray County. Damage to homes reported P and Marble side. Well, we never want to use Marble as a as a hail size comparison because marbles vary in size. It's sort of like saying rock size. You know, rocks are all different sizes, but pea, and probably my guess is like a little larger than pea size, maybe dime size, in Murray County. But 6,500 customers without power. There's a lot more people, but just the customers.
It's this right
Nasty
here, right?
cell right there. What's that?
No, I was going to say it's this cell right here in Columbia.
Yeah, that caused the that likely caused a lot of the power outages and the hail. So it's good to know that this is worth P to maybe dime size, what we're tracking there.
Yeah.
It's also interesting to see that there's no hail track on that cell.
Let me go
down
back
there.
to it for you. Hang on.
All right. We're going to let the Weather Service is going to let the tornado warning in Sumner and Wilson counties ride for a little bit. Even though that the tornado signature is going away or it's trending downward, it's not gone. The Weather Service is going to just let that sit so they don't have to, if they see it pulse back up, reissue. But right now it looks pretty favorable, or more favorable than it did. At least I want to say that.
Back on high top for this
Okay.
morning.
You know, tough to tell what we have for rotation now. There's definitely some, if we're in high top, we have some inbounds, some outbounds, the reds and the greens probably in through there.
It's got to be pretty close.
Or is it due south? Where is that radar site? Is it behind me?
It's southeast. Yeah, it's behind
Okay,
you.
so yeah, so something like this.
Probably looking north of Minor Hill.
Okay. We are seeing tornado, Giles County. Okay, 11:45 is when this. So Lawrence County has just been canceled. That's what I was reading there. Lawrence County is out of this now. The tornado warning, the red polygon, is just for Giles County. The tornado warning is just for Giles County. So Loretto, if you're in your safe spot anywhere along 43 in Lawrence County, you can come out. Even though there's still rain, lightning and thunder, the rotation area is now east-northeast of Minor Hill. So it's clearly and safely in Giles County and moving right down the heart of this tornado warning. So next in line, Lincoln County, if you can get there, southern Marshall County. Marshall County, you haven't had a whole lot tonight. We're going to have to watch you. Are we warning up and down the line still? Is the severe thunderstorm warning from top to bottom, or are they more?
It's the southern extent of it now, so it's mostly south of 40. All you have left, well, at least out ahead, if you know what I mean. You know, you're out to Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
You're getting out to Cannon County, Coffee counties. But they haven't extended the warning in the northern part of the line any farther east. So it seems like they're just focused more on the southern extent right now.
Okay, all right. And this is a monstrous severe thunderstorm warning. I don't know if that's 6 counties big. So the Weather Service is essentially saying, let me just save us some work and save you the wondering of whether or not we'll have a severe chance. Yes, in Murfreesboro, severe thunderstorm warning. Yes, in Smyrna and Laverne. Yes to all of you in Marshall, all of you in Bedford, all of you in Coffee, all of you in Cannon County. You're going to get at least some of this and have that chance of the downpours causing some power outages. I wonder where we are with NES. This thing has traversed Davidson County. And so the worst of the weather is completely done. Nashville, Davidson County, completely done with severe weather tonight. 2,500 outages, more than 2,500. That's not too bad. What did we have during the ice storm, like 240,000 or something crazy?
Close to 3, I think, at one point.
Yeah. So thank goodness for that, because we obviously have power outage fatigue, but that is the latest. So good.
And you still have some lightning strikes behind all that, too. So if you are, you know, if you're going out to assess things, you still got to be careful with those strikes that are back there. But look at this little Bode segment here now.
Oh, wow. That's Chapel Hill and that's Eagleville.
I mean, that really just...
That's the best bow of tonight. Here's Franklin Road again. We've talked about you a bunch tonight.
Let's see what the velocity is there.
So Stefano's looking under the hood, so to speak, at what he sees within the storm for wind speeds. And
it's 48, but if that just started bowing,
Yeah.
Give it another scan or two, you should probably start to see some higher winds out ahead of it. Well, this is probably what you're looking at, actually.
Are you at high top here?
No, we're at OHX.
OHX, okay. Interesting.
But if it is bowing the way it is, you get some good winds out ahead of that before it comes through. But I think with another scan, you'll see it catch up.
Yeah. This is the bow he's talking about. So anytime you see sort of looks like a bow and arrow, that means there's more energy pushing the bow out, the apex of the bow. And so there at the bow, you have the best chance of damaging wind. And so the downdraft's really taken over temporarily. And it could be forced. It could be forced from the jet stream winds that just find a path down, and they're constantly being fed. That's how these bows don't just exhaust themselves, but they continue to move along, because it's the jet stream winds that are just being cast down to the ground, and there's an endless supply, at least locally and in the short-term sense, of that jet stream wind flow. And so it just continues to bow out. So we may see that. But he tracked at Forest High School, Chapel Hill, 11:15. It's 11:10, a couple minutes. Eagleville High School, there you are in Rutherford County, 11:22. And in Newtown, almost at 11:30, right here. This, if it holds together, will get Murfreesboro. So Murfreesboro hasn't had a whole lot to focus on tonight, and so we'll have to watch that. It's going to go right across 24, and so anybody going this way, the big rig, there's a lot of tractor trailers coming out of Atlanta, whatever, Chattanooga, headed up toward maybe St. Louis. Hopefully they time it well and they don't get into the middle of that mess. So I wonder how soon that ground stop will be lifted. Things have really quieted down here in Davidson County. There's still some lightning out there.
Yeah, it's got to be.
We'll have to keep our eyes on that.
But the worst of it's way, way gone. So
Yeah.
BNA's got to start, I guess, kind of getting back to operations as usual. Looks like there's a tree down in Lawrence County.
Okay.
Holloway Road near Bonnertown in southeast Lawrence County. Which is interesting because that came off of this tornado warning storm, more likely than not, if it was southeast Lawrence County.
Southeast Lawrence, yeah, absolutely. You and I started doing cut-ins around 8, I think.
I think so.
Here we are coming up at still some rotation here, if it's right in through here. Okay, so they may have lifted the ground stop then. We're not seeing it listed on the FAA site, so back to maybe getting in some airplanes at Nashville International. So we've been doing updates since 3 hours and 45 minutes ago, and the storms are getting to I-65. Some, farther north, it's crossed I-65. What that shows is that 1 o'clock in the morning is probably too early for a storm arrival time for the Cumberland Plateau. It's probably more like 2 in the morning. Now, the severe thunderstorm warnings, a tornado warning if we still have one, very likely by 1 in the morning. But the storm line itself, I know we said this is going to accelerate through the overnight. I don't think we're out of the woods until at least 2. It may be
it's going to
2:30, 2:45.
It's going to have to clear the plateau. The plateau hasn't been touched all night, so.
Yeah. And Cumberland County has the most available area to go. Jamestown as well.
I've been wanting to do this with this. I want to get rid of some of the background just so we can identify. I mean, I just think it gives a better look at. There's that main line.
Yeah.
That's your big wind producer. That's where your lightning, your hail, your spin up could be too. So that kind of, I think, just narrows it down maybe a little bit more for us.
Oh yeah. And there are 3 storm clusters that look the most intense. 1, there's 2, and then 3 with the tornado warning.
But you're right. Notice that they've extended all these severe thunderstorm warnings, way out.
Yeah.
Ahead of these storms. I mean, you're talking, if these storms are, we'll take Gallatin as an example here, you're out 30 miles, 35 miles out. Yeah. Farther to the south, you're out 45 miles, these warnings, because these storms, I mean, they may pulsate, but they certainly don't weaken all the way.
No.
That's a pretty Nasty. Where's that?
40 at 840?
Yeah.
Okay, so mile marker 235. So right here.
So
Oh, nice job pulling that up. Thank you for finding that. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
In the sweet spot. Where is it? Ooh, that's good. All right, and so that wind, again, lucky for these big rig drivers that the wind is, you know, for some of them right into the front or right behind them as a tailwind. It's not crossing. It's not a crosswind that could really get a hold of them and blow them over.
And it looks like that we're getting more reports of trees down in Bonnertown. That's southeast Lawrence County. But they say that the emergency management says they can't access the areas because there's so many trees down.
Oh, wow.
But I kind of want to go back and I want to take a look at that storm again because that was the one that was warned through the county. I don't even know if we can zoom in enough to get, well, there's the southeast. So you go back, what, Dan, 30 minutes, 45?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to switch back to high top.
And as Stefano does that, Weather Service comments that they're watching Marshall and Rutherford for potential rotation. So that's where we said before Rutherford, Murfreesboro may get a piece of a big storm.
So this would be...
Is that Bonnertown? See if Bonnertown populates anywhere.
That's what I was looking for. Oh, here we go.
You see it?
No, it's got to be close, though.
There it is. Lower right.
Oh, right there. Okay. Way at the border. Okay, I didn't know Bonnertown was that far south.
Interesting. All right, and so that's a high top radar, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. You can see right here is the circulation. Wow. So that scooted right along the state line road.
And this is now. So, I mean, so obviously it's gone. It's gone now, but there's a lot of... This is the only tornado warning left for the time being. They just canceled the one for Sumner and Wilson.
Uh-huh. Good, because that was that didn't look too good after that first scan.
This looks like it's kind of getting a little bit more of a hail core to it as well, right here.
Yeah, no question.
It's close enough to high top, too, that I think, you know, you're probably half an inch at least, maybe not quite to an inch.
Sure.
There's an entrapment reported on Rabbit Trail Road. They're not, well, it says person, vehicle pinned under a tree. So
goodness gracious. What county is that?
That's Lawrence County still.
Okay.
That's their EMA. But I think that it's all clustered in the same area we were just looking at. So
right. And all that may get Shelbyville in time. There's Shelby. So Bedford County, all right, if the rotation is somewhere in through here, keeps doing this, you know, could get up into Shelbyville. I think Wartrace, if I remember right, is a little farther north. We'll have to check that in time. But either way, Bedford County, probably northern Coffee, southern Cannon, northern Warren, and then eventually we get into Van Buren and I guess Cumberland counties.
yeah, it looks like.
Look at this. So now Franklin County has a severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, I was just saying Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin, it's probably going to take a little while to get there because it's all this down here that's in northern Alabama right now that still has to work its way in. So that's to your point, Dan. You know, if this had a little bit more of, if it was moving more due east on its own, this would be moving through a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But now it's got so much more of a northeast track to it that it's kind of starting to crawl a little bit across the rest of the area.
Yep. And it's
So
not helping that the deeper into the night we go, the winds become more unidirectional. So there's little east-west push, or west-east push.
And if you kind of look, the whole line itself, let me stop this from.
And what it does, Stefano, is also increases the flood threat.
Yes.
Not that we have a great flooding concern, but our eastern counties may have more rain when it's all said and done than our western counties just because of the wind changing. All right.
It looks like a continuation of the tornado warning.
Okay.
That's in Giles. That's what we were just looking at. If you look at the line itself, it's gotten organized again. You know, it's almost pulsated a little bit, but it's it's got a little bit of a bow to it itself, the whole line. So the wind, like you've said, I mean, the wind is picking up, aloft in the atmosphere. Those, as it rotates down, fires out behind it all.
Look at Lebanon. So that's 40 at 840. So east of Nashville, mile marker 235. And so it is just past. It's still coming down. It's still poor conditions there. But is it 231? Where is 840? Here's Interstate 40. Is it right there? I think that's 840. So you can see the visibility is starting to improve. Goes down through Gladeville. That's it. So the western side of Lebanon, the weather's improving. Eastern side of Lebanon, it's just really starting to head downhill. And it's going to roll along. Bellwood, rain's going to pick up here shortly. Watertown, a little light rain right now. There's nothing going on. 231, it is coming down once you get down farther south and then eventually down into Rutherford County. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until midnight. Western side of Lebanon improving. Hunters Point, farther north and northern parts of Wilson County. I think you were just to the east of that tornado warning before. You might have been in it. Anyway, that's done. This tornado warning we had before is long gone. Now Southern Kentucky. So clear in Southern Kentucky is Callaway, Trigg, Christian. Then we have Todd, Logan, Simpson, half of Allen County. So Simpson's done, half of Allen County. I say half of it because it looks like right over Scottsville is the storm. So west of there, you're good. East of there, toward Tompkinsville and Monroe County, still weather concerns. Lafayette, Red Boiling Springs, all this is starting to work in. And then we get to Clay County, Salina, Burkesville, Clinton County, Albany in time. Here is a view. Is that Rutherford County? What are we looking at there? Murfreesboro. Okay. So one of the street cameras. And Murfreesboro. Ooh, that's a good one. Fortress. That's good. So this is your time, Murfreesboro, for the next 30 minutes or so. It is going to get uglier and uglier. It's just rain, but it's no fun if you're driving through it. Could be some stronger winds coming in that will impact you. And so here's 840. So south side of 840, down 41, but it should get right over Murfreesboro proper. Las Casas, as it rolls to the east. Christiana, southern parts of Rutherford, you'll get into this. Chapel Hill already got it, northern Marshall County. And then eventually all of us there in Cannon County to get the side of the house washed, the western side of the house. We get a good washing, a good soaking. All the trees, all the grass, all the weeds, going to soak all this up. So that's springtime for you in Middle Tennessee, the wettest time of year, March, April, May. You look at the way it all, scans out statistically for Davidson County, for Nashville, and you see the trend of the rain going up March, April, May, and then coming back down, still elevated over the summer, then it really comes down over the fall. We're in the wettest time of year. And sometimes we can get rounds of storms after rounds of storms. So if you get an inch or two here, then you get an inch or two here, by the end of the month, you could have 6 to 8 inches of rain. Then you get into some flooding concerns, but it sets the table for a lower drought threat during the summer. When you just fill up those streams and rivers, that certainly helps. The water resources, that certainly helps for drinking water. Okay, so the NES number is now up to 3,000 for power outages. That's a lot better. In Nashville, that's, it's way better than the ice storm. It's more than we had 20 minutes ago, but I think 20 minutes ago we had the lower 2,000. So 3,000, if you have no power, that's a problem. But when you're talking about the masses, that's not nearly as big of a problem as we had and with the ice storm. And that was, goodness, coming up on 7 weeks ago or so. Did you know the first day of spring is Friday? It has felt like spring for about 3 weeks, maybe more. First day of spring is Friday, and that is the peak of severe weather season, spring. End of March, all of April. April is typically our most active month. May can go one of two ways. May can be totally nasty for severe weather, or it can pivot to hot quickly and dry out. So we had that about 19 years ago or so, I think a drought started in May. And so that can happen here in the mid-state. Here's Fayetteville. You see something?
They were just repeating the same storm reports. The trees down near Minor Hill, all those just from this cell that went through. But it looks like that rotation is really falling apart.
What would it be, right here?
If there, I mean, there's.
Oh, wow. That's terrific.
It's pretty much gone.
Good. So it's just a sliver of a tornado warning anyway for 20 more minutes, so we'll see what happens. It's about to get out of the county. And then the Weather Service in Huntsville has put, so this is by the Weather Service in Nashville. This is by the Weather Service in Huntsville. This is where the territory changes. In Huntsville, it said, hey, we're going to do a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado warning, at least for now with this. And that's the orange polygon indicative of that. Quiet in Manchester, we get some good, we got a great Tullahoma camera that we'll have to use in time as this moves across. And we don't need it yet, but in time that'll be a good one. How are the Murfreesboro cameras doing? They
gotta be real good right now.
Nasty.
It's sitting right on top.
Right?
Let me switch back.
I-24, where's 840? So I-24, 840 is not so, you know, I don't know if it's down at Fortress or up at Fort, I forget which way Fortress is. Salem Pike, it may be down at Salem Pike, could be a good one at I-24 and T-Dot. But there's Almaville, Las Casas, Kittrell, eventually into northern Caney County, Auburntown. Moves along after that. There's 145. We don't mention 145 all that much. We'll get to 145 in time. And it is just a sea of rain. 24 at 840, so this is where we're looking right here. So the heaviest rain is about to turn off. But it's still, you know, it's terrible for people driving.
You can still see it's very windswept.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So the rain's falling. You got the road spray. You want to increase your distance between your vehicle and the vehicle in the front for obvious reasons. When you drive, it just messes. Even if it's been drizzling and there's a little dampness on the road, if you're following a big rig truck, an 18-wheeler, it is just so frustrating, difficult to see. So you just really increase that distance, let the people in a hurry pass you, and you'll be a lot safer for it.
Looks like we had a thunderstorm wind damage report from Hermitage in Davidson County. It was a tree down in a backyard on Donaldson Pike.
Okay.
And that's, I think, this storm that just went into Lebanon.
Okay. All right.
It's probably the biggest lightning density we have now. It's probably either that one or it's the one that's still in Giles County. That's
sort of diminishing some?
Yeah.
Yeah, noisy storm in Lebanon, no question. Next in line, Carthage. You know, I don't know if you ever noticed as you go east on Interstate 40, you cross the Caney Fork like 4 or 5 times. And so that's the territory we're getting into here as we go in this direction. So right in through here, Carthage, Gordonsville, here's Interstate 40. So here's where the intersections would be of the river, and it's all going to roll right there. Carthage 1143, Smith County High School 1144, and the community of Defeated at 1146, right here. Riddleton, Flat Rock.
Just canceled the tornado warning for Giles County.
Good, so no tornado warnings. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings, probably it looks like from Kentucky all the way down the line.
Yeah, I'll take it back out for the full.
And what that means is, in the next hour or so, maybe hour and 15 minutes, we'll know whether every county in our area will have had a warning tonight or not. Because so far, every county has. Mm-hmm. I think. Callaway, I think even had a warning. They did.
Yeah.
So that'll be every single county, and that happens sometimes.
Big line like this, yeah, it very easily can happen.
Yeah. What happens when we turn on the LSR button, this local storm report button?
Let me see. I'm so curious too. I've been thinking about it the last.
Okay. Bunch of hail reports, bunch of W's. And then what happens when we broaden out and look at the whole? Okay. So this is, I don't remember, but I think this is set for the last 48 hours.
Yes, it is.
48, okay. This is ridiculous. And tomorrow, if you know anybody here,
Actually, this is 24 hours.
24 hours. Tomorrow from the mid-Atlantic, so Washington, D.C. down to South Carolina, does a level 4 threat for severe weather. Level 4 chance of severe weather. We call that a moderate threat for severe weather on the eastern seaboard. So all the way from southern Canada to the Gulf Coast, there'll be a chance of severe weather, but it's really, if you know anybody traveling tomorrow, has the best chance in through here in the mountains, the Appalachians, and so all these W's will repopulate tomorrow. And then some H's and maybe some red T's indicating the tornado warning.
Now I can, if you want, I can change the, you want to see 12 hours?
Sure.
Let me see. It's no different.
It's all in the last 12 hours.
It's all in the last 12 hours, so it's no different. I can do, here's the last 6, and it's still no different. Okay, all right, well, that was fun. Okay, let's depopulate these. Now, I'm curious, Dan, I want to go back and take a look at our temperatures. That's a pretty big difference. So this is kind of what we were talking about. And, you know, even though you're clear of the severe weather threat now, I don't want it to get lost that we have a lot of cold air coming in on the backside of all of this. So let me step off for just a second here so I can give you an idea of those temperatures elsewhere. We have Lewisburg at 71, Tullahoma's at 72. Temperatures now dropping very rapidly in Nashville. We're at 58, but the 40s are not all that far off. So, I mean, you're about a 15-degree temperature difference easily between Lebanon and Nashville. So that's that cold air moving in on the back side of this. You can actually see where that front is right now because we have the wind that's on here as well. So there's that wind direction, the colder air coming in on the back side of it. You still have that south wind that's out ahead of the storm where it looks like everything converges into one and almost goes straight north to south. That would be where our front is. So this is kind of why we're still overly concerned about areas that are in the Cumberland Plateau. There's still a lot of energy in the atmosphere here. As you get toward the higher elevations of Cookeville and Crossville, the temperatures drop, and that's just simply because we're up higher at elevation. So that's the big thing. Now, something I can do, and I wonder how good this will actually look. It's okay. It's not the best, but there's your front, and there's the cold air on the back side of it. So I just wanted to see if that was ever going to line up with itself, and it did an okay job. But we still have this big line of storms right now that are moving into the Cumberland Plateau. So it has been very, very quiet here as we go to Cookeville, Jamestown, Crossville, McMinnville. We get into parts of DeKalb County or in Warren County, White, Putnam County, into Jackson, Overton, Pickett counties. There's not a whole lot we've talked about, but even the National Weather Service says that even though we're now tornado-free, there's still a very solid line of thunderstorms that can produce some damaging wind gusts, very heavy rainfall. There could be some hail, but you still can't rule out a spin-up tornado. There's actually a very scientific term for this line. They call it a quasi-linear convective system. Remember that if you're ever on Jeopardy and they ask you. But it's just a line of strong to severe thunderstorms. Within these lines, sometimes you can get these brief spin-ups. And that's exactly what we've seen. Every tornado warning that we have had tonight hasn't necessarily been one that's lasted very long. These can be situations where a tornado does spin up, it touches down briefly, it lifts, and then it's gone. Now, we haven't gotten a confirmed report of a tornado yet, and I'm not going to say that we're definitely going to in parts of Lawrence County. But in this area, if you turn back on the storm reports, we had some of those wind reports in there. So there was the tree down on Rabbit Trail Road, but this is the one that I think is a little bit more concerning, maybe a little bit more indicative that something may have touched down there. When you're talking about many trees down on one area, the National Weather Service will go out, and what they'll do is they'll do a damage survey. Dan kind of alluded to this earlier. It might be a little difficult with some of the areas that saw a lot of icing. This area of Middle Tennessee didn't have the worst of the icing. That was just another hit we took to our tower, by the way. These areas didn't get terrible icing in comparison, so it might be a little bit easier for them to determine whether or not it was a tornado touchdown or whether it was some straight line winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. They'll kind of look at the damage, and if it is a lot of tree damage that they're looking at, they'll look to see how the trees are laid out. If they're all kind of swept down in one direction, then it was straight line winds. However, if you have trees down in opposite directions, it's because of the twisting and turning of the winds from a tornado. So that's how they'll determine that, and that will most likely be done tomorrow. It's not going to happen tonight. They're not going to get out there, but my guess is they'll go out tomorrow afternoon. By about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we should be able to go and see which one it was, whether it was straight line winds or a spin-up tornado. The question is, which office will go out there. I think the National Weather Service in Nashville will go out there, Dan, to assess that. I don't think that's Huntsville's territory, so it'll be interesting, though, because it's the same storm. It'll probably be something where they kind of have to almost work together because you have the tornado confirmed that was down in Florence, so you're going to have to just kind of see where things stand there. But like we said earlier, we've had wind damage reports up and down the entire area. And now the spots we're looking at are east of 65. So you're in the clear in Nashville, Clarksville, Waverly, but the lightning's not done yet simply because hang on a second. All right, the National Weather Service, the emergency management in Lawrence County is reporting several houses destroyed on Smith Road near Bonnertown. Responders report destroyed by a tornado. Okay, so that's not confirmed by the National Weather Service, but that's an area that we're definitely going to have to send some crews out. Our hearts go out to them. We wish the best. But it's what we just talked about. If that was in fact a tornado touchdown, then it was very quick, but certainly enough to cause some problems here. And within this line, it's not out of the question that we can't get another spin-up tornado. So the line itself is mainly going to be focused on straight line winds at this point. There's another hit to our tower. That's the second one within 5 minutes. So this is why I keep telling you that even on the back side of this, if I turn the lightning back on, you'll probably see that there are still some lightning strikes back here, but more of a cluster of lightning between Lafayette into Lebanon. That's moving through. It's going to get to parts like Putnam County, Gainesboro, Salina. It looks like we're going to miss out on at least the worst of it for now. But at all these areas that are east of 65, like Gainesboro, McMinnville, you get down to areas like Smithville, Alexandria, Carthage, Auburntown, Woodbury, Bradyville. All of these spots were mainly focused on the straight line winds, but anywhere within this line, it's very easy to get a brief spin-up tornado. It's not a very high risk, but it's still there, and we've seen it happen multiple times already this evening. So we're getting very heavy rain still in Murfreesboro, but the worst of it's coming to an end. Maybe it's a little bit more moderate than it is heavy. Where is this? This looks like quite the flitter. Okay, that is Murfreesboro. So yeah, it does confirm the rain has lightened up a little bit. It's maybe not as windswept, but there's probably some ponding in some of these areas. If there's some spots with really poor drainage, then that's going to be an area to watch closely. Sparta, Spencer, down through McMinnville. We are quiet right now. We have this light rain out ahead of all of this, but there's that heavier rainfall that's going to work its way in, and more of an untapped environment of the atmosphere, so it still has a lot of energy throughout it. You get up to Cookeville as well, and you get up into these higher elevations too. I think the wind can become more of a problem. You're several hundred feet higher in elevation, so the wind becomes a little bit more of a factor the higher you go up, as opposed to being a little bit farther down in elevation. So that'll be something to watch closely as well. And these are they still moving 45 miles per hour at this point, Dan? Because I think they're starting to crawl a little bit slower, it almost looks like. They have to be.
You know what? Let's find out. Let's just do a new storm track or storm assessment here. So let's choose, just so we get all our storm tracks right, because the atmosphere is definitely changing. So here's the leading edge, and then we back it up 30 minutes, and then we'll measure. So there's 30 minutes. Ignore that warning identification. And then we'll measure, and it looks like the line in 30 minutes time has moved. So it looks like it's moving east at 35. The line is moving east at 35.
Okay, so definitely slower, about 10 miles an hour slower than it was about an hour ago, because it was going 45.
Yeah, we had the cells moving northeast at 45, but I did the due east movement, so
Okay.
it's 35, yeah. So we see that. I want to take you up here. I want to take you up to Hartsville. This is a little concerning, where we have, it looks like an intensifying bow. So you see this on the north side of Smith County. Let me take this down to a new picture every minute and lapse it for 15 minutes. Here it is. So right there, you see how the pinks are sort of trying to shoot out a bow. This could be indicative of an area that's going to get some pretty good wind damage, or it could be getting some pretty solid wind damage now. And I'll take a look at the wind speeds. Dixon Springs getting the worst of that right now. Let's see what kind of wind speeds we see with that. Looks like 60. All right. So nothing we haven't seen yet tonight, but that's the strongest wind up in that area. So very interesting. We'll have to keep our eyes on you up there, Dixon Springs. Not seeing much in the way of rotation. Some good news there, as all this is showing a little pocket of intense lightning, concentration of lightning. Tornado watch canceled for Davidson, Lawrence, Murray, Robertson, Sumner, Williamson. So we're making progress. Let me turn off the radar just for a moment and turn on the watch. Let's do that real quick. So bear with me a second as I make some changes. Watch. And then let's turn off the radar and get it out of the way. All right. That is our existing watch in the yellow. So Giles, Marshall, Rutherford, Wilson, Trousdale, Macon, Allen County points east. So I'd say we're done with 3/5 of the area, and we still have about 2/5 of the area to go. But we're making progress in seeing this stuff get out of here and seeing this stuff wind down. I am very curious about the rain totals. So let's look at those just to see how we've been accumulating rain. I know we need rain, but too much is never good. So 24-hour rain. Ooh, looks like quite a bit. Now, sometimes you get something called hail contamination, where hail, that actually legit hail falls, and it makes it seem like you just got totally blasted by rain. But just because the radar sees ice, there could be some hail contamination here. That is a possibility. I think we had some big hail reports before here as well. Let's just turn on the local storm reports and see if we did. I don't see anything that looks like it was a major hail report a little farther south. So 2 to 3 inches, almost 4 inches of rain in this part of the area.
Luckily, it hasn't rained a whole lot in that area.
Say again?
Luckily, it hasn't rained a whole lot in the last couple of weeks. Otherwise,
Right.
that'd have been a flooding problem.
Yeah, no question. So, and that continued. It was one cell that caused those problems. It continued farther north. Why am I not able to move this thing? Here we go. It continued farther north into much of Murray County, parts of Williamson County, so Spring Hill, and then it sort of fell apart. That storm system fell apart. By the way, we go back to our regular radar view. Here is the latest positioning and distance from the Cumberland Plateau. Well, not the Cumberland Plateau. Distance from Crossville. We are 55 miles away from Crossville for the leading edge. So if it's moving east, the whole line is moving due east at 35, not the individual cells, but the whole line. That will put it into your area in about 90 minutes. So, yeah, 1:15, 1:30. All right, we have an update on power outages. So let's see that. Katie Beth, our producer, in the back tonight. We've got a lot of hands on deck. Okay, NES has still a little more than 3,000 people without power. Middle Tennessee Electric, nearly 1,800 without power. CEMC, nearly 2,500. Is that Clarksville? Cumberland Electric, all right. All right, CDE 1,700. Yeah, so terrific, thank you. So we have, looks like we have, almost 10,000. I'm doing my math right. 3,500, 6,500, a little more than 9,000 probably. That's not too bad. I mean, again, if you have no power, it's terrible, it's annoying, but it could be a lot worse given the system we had tonight. Looking at trim some of the tornado watch, so we just saw that. Need to watch some of these counties in southeast. Warren County has a new severe thunderstorm warning, the whole county pretty much, except for the southeastern sliver, until 12:45 for an hour. Is Coffee County. Putnam County still not in it. Half of Jackson County is, a third of Clay County is, and South Central Kentucky is as well. So this is much more so a solid line than it was at any time tonight. I mean, the leading edge is almost perfect as it goes from South Central Kentucky straight down and through here. And so what that means is the tornado threat is a lot lower and the damaging wind threat is unchanged. The hail threat is lower. Significant rain threat is at least as significant as it was before, if not maybe a little higher. You know, I know we got 3 to 4 inches back and through here. We're not going to touch that for the rest of tonight. No one's going to get that much, but there easily could be some solid 2.5 inches in through here. Oh, absolutely. We have viewer videos from earlier tonight. Pardon me. There's lightning in Columbia earlier tonight. So, wow, this must be time lapse, or maybe it's not. That's just incredible.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That is excellent. More lightning in Columbia, different video. What a storm. Columbia had multiple rounds, though, and gave them the opportunity for just the substantial sightings. Hail in Dixon. Pardon me, you can see it bouncing there. Now, this hail didn't look too big, but near Dixon before, I think we had golf balls, not golf ball, we had ping pong ball size hail. This looks to be more nuisance hail. Okay. Oh, good videos. Thank you all for submitting your videos. Again, the easiest and best way to do it for us to get it on TV most quickly is the WSMV4 weather app. All right, that truck is beneath the carport, beneath the overhang, and protected. Good call there. Oh, we have Stefano's video. Stefano.
I'm in.
All right. So when Davidson County, the western side, was getting hit earlier, he said, Dan, I'm going to go see what we got. And it was perfect timing because at that moment, the station lost power. And so you could see the gusty wind. You know, who would ever want to be driving in that? Just terrible. And then that's it.
And like I told you,
yeah.
I didn't hear any lightning from that, so it had to be the wind. You know, there's no way it was.
Sure.
No way it was a lightning strike, and then our loud generator kicked on. It cuts off before the of the generator because it just. But it happened real fast, and that wind, that light pole that you're seeing there too, it was really leaning at one point.
Yeah.
We were all kind of watching it, just waiting to see if it was going to come all the way down. But you have all these tree limbs that are. The thing is and you talked about this with your video, with the ice storm. Not only did it knock down a lot of trees and tree limbs, it also weakened a lot of them as well. So you don't really necessarily know what trees have been maybe not completely uprooted, but maybe they were just kind of compromised a little bit. And some tree limbs, too, that maybe kind of were barely hanging on from the ice storm that hadn't gotten trimmed because they weren't an immediate problem. Now they become that problem when these gusty winds come through, which is probably why we've gotten so many power outage reports in Davidson County, even though not everybody saw, you know, the 70-mile-per-hour winds, 50 miles per hour is enough to topple down. There's just the weakness of all that.
Yeah, no question. And now that we have that line, look at the southern extent of that line, though. That's interesting where it is so much more fragmented than it was earlier tonight. In Lincoln County, getting into Moore County, so down around Tullahoma. I mean, that is just looking like little pockets of moderate to heavy rain as opposed to an organized band of storms.
Yeah. Let's go. I'll switch back to
just totally falling apart.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely still has the heavy rain component, maybe some hail, but other than that, I mean, these downstream warnings that are being issued, these warnings that are so far out, are just simply because these storms still have a history of producing damaging winds, so that's still going to be the focus. And the lightning strikes are still hanging on pretty tough too, but they've dropped a lot. And normally we can kind of use the lightning strikes at least somewhat. It's not exact, but somewhat as a gauge here as to the strength of these storms in general. So the lightning strikes are dropping a little bit, and especially with that line that cell that's now north of I-40 in Cookeville. So let me see if I can slow things down. I'm going to take you to that area so we can get a better look at it. Let me just slow this down just a second. Okay, so they're still issuing, again, they're just reissuing these tornado warnings out ahead of this line. So it's actually this storm that we're looking at right now that the tornado warning, or I'm sorry, the severe thunderstorm warning, I should say, has been issued downstream of this. So I'm going to click that off for a second, but you can see the lightning strikes drop pretty dramatically in this particular cell. So if I really slow things down and we play it through, watch the lightning strikes. They were at 172, and now they're all the way down to about 108. So you've lost a good 70 lightning strikes, which is a pretty decent sign here that, you know, this line may be weakening a little bit. These could still obviously have some very gusty winds. Lightning is not a complete identifier that these storms are totally out of the picture because they can still pulsate. We can still see some changes to that. But this is the latest severe thunderstorm warning, and I do believe the camera that you guys have up, that's Cookeville, is it not, or am I mistaking that? Okay, yes, it is Cookeville. So there's that line. Let me see how fast this was actually moving. This one is only going, well, it's going 45 miles per hour, it says, so let's do that. I'm gonna do 40 though, because we did that little math session earlier. It says it's moving perfectly east, so let's go 42 is fine. Okay, so there's that severe thunderstorm warning that was issued out ahead of this main line. The current time is 1:52, so Granville, it's right on top of us right now. Haydenburg at about 11:56, so in about the next 4 minutes. DeKalb County High School at midnight. Jackson County High School just after midnight. Gainsborough the same. Smithfield at about 12:04. The upper end of this, Upperman High School at 12:06, and Center Grove at about 12:08 as well. And then obviously you start to talk about areas like Sparta and Monterey and Jamestown, and eventually this will get to Crossville as well. So we're not ignoring our friends in the Cumberland Plateau whatsoever, and we know as these storms move through, they're going to impact you just as they've impacted everybody else in Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. So this will be something to continue to watch. Right now, it seems like that threat of spin-up tornadoes has certainly backed off quite a bit. It may not be completely gone right now, but it's definitely one. I think if we're going to maybe see another tornado warning, it would probably be farther to the south, more where these storms don't look quite as well of an organized line. You can see kind of those notches in these storms that are in there. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're rotating, but it does mean that they have some good inflow to them, and you could get a quick spin up. So don't be surprised if there's maybe another tornado warning or two before the night is out, but I really don't think it's going to be that much of a problem for us anymore compared to what it was the last couple of hours. The National Weather Service really seems to just be focused on this main line of storms. And by the way, there's still some lightning behind all of this. So if you look farther to the west, we still have lightning strikes back to Linden, maybe as far as Waverly. You still have a lot of lightning in Gallatin, Nashville, down through Columbia. Lawrenceburg still has a lot of lightning as well. Of course, most of it is clustered in this main line, but if you're just kind of out and about whatsoever through this midnight hour, you're still going to see some good lightning as we hear some thunder here in the WSMV4 studios. Let me turn on the hail detector. I want to take a look at our storm threats. Hail was a pretty big component in these not that long ago. It doesn't seem like it is at this point. So these pink colors would indicate hail size. Again, these aren't exact, but I mean, your pea-sized hail, maybe dime-sized at the biggest. So the hail component really is dissipated. It's really just the wind right now. I don't see any signs of rotation in any of this, so we're just really focused on the gusty wind component. Several severe thunderstorm warnings still up and down Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. All of those are in the Cumberland Plateau. If you've been waiting up in areas like Nashville, Gallatin, Laverne, even Murfreesboro now, you are in the clear. You can head to bed. Columbia, Lawrenceburg, you just have some rain, some rumbles of thunder. The severe threat is long gone. If you're watching in Cookeville, McMinnville, Manchester, Crossville, Jamestown, and just make sure you're staying weather ready. Keep those alerts on your phone. Hopefully you have the WSMV4 weather app. That'll help with any alerts that you need. If you have to head to bed for whatever reason, just make sure you're staying alert and that you have those alerts ready to go. We're going to stay with you here for a couple more minutes here on WSMV4. Watch these storms head into the Cumberland Plateau. Right now, it's just damaging winds that are the main concerns. I think most of these storms, and by the way, the wind has kind of backed off on these warnings. It's only warned for about 60 miles per hour now. Most of these severe thunderstorm warnings were warned at about 70 miles per hour. So it's certainly backed off a little bit. It doesn't mean that this cannot continue to cause problems. We can still see power outages. We can still get some downed tree limbs from this. Flooding is not that big of an issue. We talked about how much rain we've seen from this. Let's take a look at how much rain is actually sitting in these storms themselves. We can actually look at the rainfall rate. So let me get into some of the heavier pockets. I'm going to turn off the lightning as well. Now, when you see these numbers, keep in mind the storms are all moving. So you're going to see these crazy rainfall rates of 7, 8, close to 9 inches per hour. All that tells us is that this rain is coming down at an extremely heavy rate. Because these storms are moving at 45 miles per hour, you are not getting 8 inches of rain. If they were sitting over top of you for an hour and they did not move, then that would be the case. But that's not the case, and they're moving here. And by the way, the wind advisory is still continuing. Let me go back and see if I can't pull that up, because I think this is something else that we need to consider. Yeah, so this wind advisory, this means that even on the backside of these storms, even though these storms have wrapped up, the environmental winds are still very gusty behind all of this. So the wind advisory of 45-mile-per-hour gusts can continue to cause problems. We saw some reports of wind damage earlier before these storms even came through. So the problem would now be if you do have a very saturated ground with this, and you have these gusty winds that push up to 45 miles per hour, maybe a tree is just barely hanging on from the gusty winds that came from the storms, all the way through 7 a.m., we can still see some problems with this wind. And this is all because the colder air is coming in on the backside of it. So it really looks like that we'll get out of the severe wind phase, but not be totally done with it through the next several hours beyond that into the morning. And that could still cause issues for the morning commute. These are our low temperatures for tomorrow morning. Keep in mind, it was well in the 70s today. We've been very warm, and now all of a sudden we're not again.
Crazy. Stefano, that's the air temperature. Look at the wind chill. Look at the wind chill. So you can see it coming in tonight.
Yeah.
And then you can see it 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Oof. So the people who were in Florida for spring break and they had 80s, come back to this. And when you come back from a trip, you may not be dialed into your local forecast right away.
Yeah.
And so if they're not aware that this is coming, this is going to be a shocker in the morning. 20s and teens tomorrow afternoon, 20s for the wind chill. And then Tuesday morning, single digits and teens. So just unbelievable cold coming in. And then, as you mentioned a number of times tonight, flurries and snow showers. Now, the air temperature during the day tomorrow, I think, is still hanging in the 30s above freezing for almost everybody, except for the highest elevations, maybe 32 or 33. But even if you're at 36 or 37, if you get a little burst of snow on an elevated surface, like something made of metal, like a grill, an uncovered grill outdoors, you could get a little dusting.
Yeah.
So even in Davidson County, there could be a little dusting. On the Cumberland Plateau, with a little help from a westerly wind, we call it just a little upslope effect, you could get as much as 1 inch of snow tomorrow there. That would be the exception. Most of us not to see that, but just be aware that that is a possibility with this system as it moves on by. So, but the rain, more to track.
Yeah.
A few severe thunderstorm warnings. Tornado threat looks like it's lower.
Certainly is.